Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons
Where do we-
and Dragons?
Well, I'm 6 foot, and she's like, "Are you though?" I'm like, "On what government form do I put 5'11" and 3/4?" Like, it's 6 foot or 5'11, and I'm closer to 6 foot.
The
like,
cop.
That's
teacher-
true.
Cop takes it out of you.
Mathematically, you round
You
up.
put 6
Yeah.
foot. Pulls out a tape measure. Sure about that? Okay, I'm 3/4. She's got a weird elbow, dude.
Yeah, mine does.
I've got a double
Tyson,
D,
you have
too.
doubles on your doubles?
Yeah, that's
Jefferson,
why-
you!
Yeah,
You
that's
do
why,
this?
that's why I was a good. That's why I was a good backstroker.
Yeah, backstroke was mine because
Yeah,
you can go.
No, that's why. That's
That's
why.
why-
That's
a
why
really
backstroking
good
is
backstroke.
'Cause look,
Oh yeah,
backstroke.
backstroke.
I'm a really good backstroker.
Wow, you are. Maybe cut this out, but save it.
Hello, adventurer, and welcome to our Heroes of Theros Season 1 recap. We, as you may have noticed, are all together in person for the first time since going on YouTube, which we are very excited
It
about.
feels good.
Yeah.
And with the first season of Curse of Strahd behind us, it's time for us to catch up where we left off on our Theros campaign with a much-awaited Season 2 coming to you very soon. As you know, it's been a while since we last saw our heroes Calen, Alandros, Thalassa, Adelphos, and Theseus, so we thought it would be a good idea to recap our first season and talk about our favorite memories and episodes. We will be giving a brief rundown over every arc in the season and talking a bit after each recap about the highlights of that particular arc. This episode is intended to refresh the memories of those who have already joined us through the Odyssey of Theros, so if you haven't yet, please go back and binge listen to the entire first season, 55 episodes, which you can find anywhere podcasts can be found. And I think without further ado, it's time for our recap of Heroes of Theros.
Oh, buddy.
Arc 1, the intro. Our story begins with the siege of the city of Neolantis, under the control of the city-state Meletis. Our 5 heroes find themselves as unlikely companions, all tasked with opening the gate during the siege. After navigating the drainage system of the city, Vedius, Thalassa, Adelphos, Theseus, and Alandros find themselves in combat with the city guard. They successfully defeat the guards and open up the city to their invading allies. Once the party met up with the rest of their brigade, they were tasked by their captain, Faustus, to clear a local temple of any insurgents. Once there, they discovered a Leonin chieftain, Apto, killing the unarmed acolytes of the temple and placing weapons on their bodies. It was discovered during the siege that the king of one of the city-states known as Akros was also killed in battle. After the siege was completed, the party was honored as heroes and were thrown a party. It was during this party that they met the captain of the king's guard in Akros, Proteus. Afterward, Apto, supported by the other leaders of the land, tasked the heroes with finding Apollonia, the lost daughter of the king of Akros and heir to the throne. The next morning, the group awoke to find one of their companions, Alandros, missing. Thinking that some of the fellow satyrs who had aided in the siege abducted him, the party made their way to the city-state of Setessa, where the satyrs were likely to hide. Our heroes made their way to the Scholar Vale to find their friend. Once there, they defeated the Cult of Horns and rescued Alandros, and purified the land, consecrating it to the goddess of harvest, Karametra.
It's just not a cult of thorns.
Nope, it was Cult of Horns.
Oh. No, I'm just joking. That's an insight.
Following... Please, minimize interruptions
All
during
right,
recaps.
This is the problem with us being in person versus
It's so much easier to just have cross talk.
Yeah, we get a lot more done online, honestly.
Following the rescue, the party finds themselves wrapped up in a conspiracy in Setessa that may have followed them from the siege. Agreeing to help with the monster plaguing the area, the group was led into the wilderness by the goddess of nature, Nylea. After much travel, they find themselves in an abandoned temple, not unlike the one they sacked in Neolantis. It is there they defeat 2 displacer beats and adopt a third. And then our heroes make their way to Meletis to begin their search for Apollonia. It is there when they receive news that Alandros' father was murdered during his absence. All right, that wraps it up for the first arc.
Wow.
The intro arc, the first 8 episodes,
Oh my
in case you are
gosh.
all wondering. which was that was a long time ago. It was almost
Really
2 years
was.
ago.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, but since we recorded it, and the audio is awful. So
I was just gonna say.
So, yeah, if you're going to
That's one of
skip
the
the first
memorable
8
things.
episodes, we
Then-
get it. We made a recap for it. Because
this is why I made a recap. What is well, first off, was there anything that I missed or forgot or that anyone wants to add in that happened during this time frame that you think is really important?
Is that... That's not when we found Orpheus.
It is.
It
when you
is,
found
It
Orpheus.
is when we
It
found
is,
Orpheus.
yeah.
Because
What
you
is
adopted
this?
the third.
That's
You
right.
killed 2 displacer beasts and adopted a third.
That's right.
Orpheus is the displacer
He's
beast
chosen
that
amongst-
we found and adopted.
Basically, a displacer beast kitten. I want to keep
Orpheus, come on, guys.
Orpheus. Yeah, I wanted to keep these recaps short because I wanted us reminisce about it more.
Yeah.
So I think something important that I left out was the temple in Neolantis was a temple to a god that nobody really knew of.
Yes, and it
I-
was all... Is that the one where they were all burnt, or all the
Priests
priestesses
were murdered, yeah.
and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it opened up a lot of intrigue, of why this was being targeted, and I remember having a lot of thoughts of, there was no way it was a coincidence. I don't think at the time, though, we knew it was Abdo. I don't even know if we know it's Abdo.
No, we did because they were Leonins
Killing
that were
them all.
doing it.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And we knew that it was him, but then at the party he was like, "Congratulations to you," but we knew that he was.
It was such a
behind
bittersweet
it. Yeah.
first arc because it was hey, we did something good. It seems like a lot of this campaign was that way, where it's
Yeah.
you did something good, we're
But-
going to throw you a party, but then at the same time we're
Actually,
Are we sure we're okay with what we did?
You were doing
this the right
something
thing?
for the villain.
Exactly.
He wanted you to do that.
Straight up.
We were just
Yeah.
totally playing into his book.
Yeah. Every time we did something good, Abdo was like, slow clap. Great job,
literally.
everyone. Great
Thank you
job.
for being so dumb.
Yeah, that was Abdo.
Yeah.
Oh, something we forgot to say. Shay is joining back with us again.
Oh,
Yeah.
Episode. I can't believe we missed that out. And we're missing Matt, who
Yep.
can't join us tonight,
Yep.
who plays Adelphos in the podcast. So,
It's alright, his character's dead.
spoiler alert.
Well,
if you're watching this, you should
What if they didn't know? What if they had to wait until the end?
Well, it's alright, dude.
Is there? So, what else? Any other thoughts on this first?
Definitely, I have to go over my dumb joke where we literally, through several episodes, forgot that it was called Cult of Horns,
Yep.
and we kept calling it the Cult of Thorns
Oh,
for
yeah.
several
I didn't know
episodes.
that.
And then we
At least three
you didn't
episodes.
know?
Oh,
No,
yeah,
It's
yeah.
so long. It's been so long.
It has
Yeah.
been a long time. That's why it's so helpful to have
Yeah.
this. Because season 2 is coming up so soon. But anyway,
That's
that
fair.
was
Because
that was
Cult
a
of
dumb
Horns
thing.
is so important for season 2.
Yeah.
They're the main villains. That was not something that he came up with because I
Surprise!
couldn't make it to the
So,
episode.
We killed them all.
Yeah.
But did we?
Did we defeat all of them?
Though I do want to bring something up, and that's Tyson and I recorded a separate spin-off episode
yeah.
of himself captured by the cult,
yeah.
which we never aired for
yeah.
for time reasons.
Oh, we never did?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
didn't
forgot
know
that.
that.
I
Yeah.
remember that you guys did that.
Yep.
Yeah,
What
that was
happened?
crazy. Basically,
I
they captured me,
Uh-huh.
and I had no idea what was going on. There were other prisoners that were with me, and
Other
they were all
satyrs.
satyrs,
Yeah.
yeah. And they started putting us through these crazy tests that would basically put us to the edge of dying, and they would slowly die, but I would survive, and then at the end I was the chosen
initially
candidates,
Yo.
and then they tried to pull me in, and I was like,
You
no,
were about to
and-
join a fraternity.
pretty much
Basically.
yeah. It's
So you got
literally- it was
hazed?
literally
Yeah.
a frat. Yeah.
and
I
then
mean,
they
a very, very-
strapped me up to that what was it? Was it a rock?
It was that pit. Yeah, the obelisk.
Yeah.
Yes, the obelisk.
They had the mushrooms on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they gave me the mushroom
To try and
juice and stuff,
Yeah.
And I
That
guess
was a
if I would have
fun little
survived,
spin-off.
it was, yeah.
It was too long to add into the episode because we recorded almost over an hour, just
Yeah.
you and I, and then to add that into the episode was just too long. So we never. Maybe I'll
we should
edit
post
that
it.
and we'll release it. Yeah.
Yeah. I
That'd
was
be
gonna say
fun.
we could do it because I don't think we've gotten up to that point on our YouTube release. So
Oh,
could,
yeah, we passed
Oh, we
it,
have. Oh,
yeah.
okay. Well, we could just.
Anyway.
Yeah, anyways.
To be maybe we will release it. We'll
Yeah,
let
that'd
you know.
be cool.
Sweet.
And the other thing I just want to add in is the right off the bat, you guys met well, some of you met 3 gods in just that first arc. Because Adelphos was visited by Karametra
Yes.
in Visage, and then you all met Nylea.
Yep.
What was it? What
And
was
then
it?
I saw a
the,
god.
Yeah.
What
Yes.
god did I
You
see?
saw yours. You saw Ifara.
Yeah.
Oh, did I? In my vision when I...
Oh, no, you saw Karametra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it that Karametra told Matt? I know Matt. So Karametra the god gave Matt a white rose. No.
Yeah.
No, it was
Yeah, no,
a,
it was a white
Yeah,
rose.
it was
I
white.
thought it was a black
It
rose.
was a white rose,
Oh.
which then turned black,
Yeah,
and we
when he
were
took
like,
it.
and for quite a while, we were kind of like, well, what does that mean? It was fun figuring that out. What was it that she told him though? Was it anything of note?
Basically, he was asking about his mother, his lineage, and she basically said, like, there's more to who you are than you know, because Adelphos was if he would make it very well known to everybody that he was a slave. He was a gladiator,
He
a
was
slave
what?
of the city.
He was an intern.
An intern.
Intern.
Yeah, an intern. He was an unpaid gladiator that could not leave in Akros, who was an orphan. He didn't know who his father was, and his mother died when he was young. So I think he was asking questions about his mother.
Was it a white rose or was it? I thought it was a black
No,
rose.
It was a
white,
white rose,
but then
it turned
Originally-
black.
black, and he
Black.
took it.
That's what
Okay.
I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And the rose never went away. Every time
he
he tried to
tried to
throw it away or get
Yeah,
rid of
he
it,
tried
it
to,
would
like, burn it or
yeah, he
something
tried to
one
burn
time.
it. He tried to like just toss it in the sea, and then it would just always kept coming back.
Yeah.
Of course, that's a little bit later, I think.
Yeah.
But
There's a lot of setup in this.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
also
it was.
we saw the 4 or however many monsters in the fountain when we were climbing up.
That's right.
Yeah.
We saw the
That's right.
monsters that
Which I don't think we've
held
even
back.
encountered all of them.
No,
Nope.
we've I think 2 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Displacer Beast was one of them.
And the
And
shark.
that
Sharks.
shark thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then there was
Like a multi-headed Hydra type
So
creature.
actually, you've
And-
encountered 3.
we haven't fought
We
a
haven't
Hydra.
fought a Hydra.
Yeah.
You definitely fought a Hydra.
we did in Akros.
Yeah.
Oh, we did. Oh my
Oh,
goodness, we
that's
totally
right.
did.
Oh my god.
We're getting ahead of ourselves there.
I
Yeah.
forgot.
Yeah.
Dude, it's been so long.
Okay,
And
we'll
there
get,
was
we'll
a-
get to
okay,
that.
we'll
We'll
get
get to
to that.
that.
We'll get
There was a beholder or something. I don't know if it was a Hydra.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was-
some things
it's
can
unclear.
change, but like there were some random
so
things
the,
that like
the purpose of it is there's this I guess this is important to go over. The temple that they sacked in Neolantis, there was a statue of an unknown god who was blindfolded, who had chained back several unknown monsters to these people.
Yeah.
Monsters are not uncommon in Theros, but these monsters have never been seen before. And the same temple they see again when they go follow Nylea to kill one of these monsters that are new to them. And that will be important to go through the rest of the series. So
so
This-
much in that first arc. You
this
don't
was
realize
also-
when you look back at it.
literally,
when we were first introduced to Alondros's soap.
yeah.
This is so very important. Very important. That's a key.
That's
That
like
is
key
actually a
piece
key.
of-
Yep.
Yep, it is.
Episode 2. Episode 2 is honestly one of my favorite episodes.
Episode 2 was a good episode.
It was good.
Yeah.
I wish the audio was better
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it really was a great episode. We
But-
meet Apto, we meet Proteus, 2 of the most hated characters in the entire campaign.
Yep. Honestly, it was so the one I have to say this. We haven't talked about it, but we're already here. So one of my favorite episodes is episode 2 because it's it's the episode that we meet Proteus, and it kind of set up for me Theseus and where I wanted him to go and what I wanted his backstory and
What
his
backstory?
yeah, you don't know. You don't find out about it
Or
till
will
the end.
you.
You know, you've got like set up his backstory and like where I wanted Theseus to go and what are the challenges that I wanted him to go through. Like
Yeah.
it really set the stage. Like, and actually, it was the very first time whenever Theseus had a conversation with Proteus, it was the very first time that I ever had. Like a physical and like an emotional reaction while playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, that's
Really?
So
That's
cool.
It was the very first time. If we had like
Video.
cameras, you would have seen me when I was talking to Jefferson and he was Proteus. You would have seen me shaking. I was
was.
I do
I was
remember that.
shaking.
I remember that now that you say it.
I was like the adrenaline was pumping because I mean you just with his backstory
Which
and, like,
we'll get into
yeah, like
eventually.
just like the emotion,
will
the
we?
hate. It was
Wait,
all there.
just like when we'll get into it eventually. His backstory will come up eventually, right?
Yeah, it never does.
And that was the day you became addicted to Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
That's when it all started.
And going off of that, I remember when we were all at the tent after the whole, I think it was episode 1, after we took the whole gate and everything, and then you guys were in the tent, and I was outside of the tent talking to the children.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
That made me actually connect to my character more, too. So
Yeah.
it was kind of, I mean, yours was bigger,
That's cool.
No, that's awesome.
That's
That's
cool that you
really
both
good.
had that
but
in like such a
Early point.
yeah, such an
Yeah.
early point in the campaign. I don't think that I've even had that until Theros, but it wasn't until later on.
I bet I
That
can
was
guess when
a-
yours was.
Yeah, you probably can.
oh, I can guess when it was.
It's coming up.
Yep.
Not in the next
Coming
arc,
up
but the one
next.
after. Coming up soon. And yeah, anything else for Arc 1? I'm sure this will roll into Arc 2.
This is when we found out Alondros was a
Person.
gambling addict.
Oh,
Yeah,
that is
yeah,
true.
yeah.
That is true.
Like,
Well, that will come out
end
in
of
Act
Act
Two.
1,
Yeah.
beginning Act 2.
Yeah.
So, Arc 2 was the Meletis arc. Our heroes enjoy some much-needed R&R after agreeing to meet Faustus later for info regarding their quest for Apollonia. While at the bathhouse, they discuss how to best go about dealing with Alondros' father's murder. It is decided that Thalassa and Adelphos would visit a local gambling hall run by Linus, the man who killed Alondros' father.
Or rather, the Leonin. Lion.
Yes, the Leonin. Afterwards, the party meets Faustus at the Blue
Alsaid.
Alcid.
Inn when they discuss his information regarding Apollonia. While they're there, they run into Proteus, who is revealed to be Theseus's father. So we found out that early.
Yeah.
That's right.
Have we gone over who Faustus is? Did we mention him in the first?
I did. He was the captain of your brigade. Also, he is a servant to Proteus and an Calen. I think that's important information we missed.
Yeah.
And a childhood best friend
Friend
of
of
Theseus.
Theseus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, continuing on, tempers rise as the old warrior challenged his son to fight in the street, which ultimately ends in Theseus' defeat. That night, Theseus had a vision by the god of wrath and chaos, Mogus, who is very important, who showed to him pieces of armor scattered throughout Theros. The Minotaur god told Theseus if he wanted power to overcome his father, he needed to collect all 5 pieces of armor and become the champion of Mogus.
You don't need to remember that. That's not important.
Yeah,
Not
that-
really.
No, that definitely doesn't.
He never
come
got
up.
him.
It never
Yeah.
comes back up.
It was like a adventure hook that your DM throws you that you just look over.
It definitely
Yeah.
did not become like a background a background story throughout the
Okay.
entire
It
campaign.
never comes up again. We're good.
Yeah.
So just forget that. The next day, they hatch their plan to avenge Alondros' father and infiltrate the gambling hall. Doing so splits the party, and in the confusion, Alondros falls into old habits and begins to make significant bets with the group's money.
That was
That was so much fun.
We'll talk
That was
about
so
it after.
great.
We'll
Yeah.
talk about it after.
After being found out, a fight began, which ends with Alondros leaving Lioness permanently insane. After victory at the Lion's Den, the heroes hired a ship and crew for their voyage to find Apollonia. After shopping at Magnus's magical miscellany, they took a trip to the Grand Library at Glotian to find out more about Apollonia. While they were there, they discovered part of the library containing literature on a forgotten god that was burned, and Apollonia had discovered her destiny far in the sea and has never returned. On their way back from the library, they were ambushed by assassins who claimed to know Vedius and who were trying to kidnap Thalassa. Our heroes prevailed, but were left wondering if another attempt would be made for Thalassa. Vedius came clean revealing his real name to be Calen, and that he was once tasked with kidnapping Thalassa, which he gave up to ultimately protect her. Upon returning to Meletis, our heroes were named the Pentamerate and began their quest for Apollonia, sailing away from the mainland on their ship, the Valiant. Man, that was a heavy arc.
Dude,
there was a lot.
The Meletis arc is when it gets like
When
spicy.
it turns up.
It gets good.
It turns up, for real.
Yeah.
Every time I tell anybody when they listen to it, I say, really, once you get to Meletis, that's where it really
Dude,
picks
it's
Yeah.
straight up to the moon.
All right, is there anything we missed or forgot that was important to include, do you think?
No, we should just move on to arc 3. What was
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, that's all there was to say
The
about
whole
that
time
one.
that was happening in the gambling hall. Is that when I was running around on the roof?
Yes! Oh my gosh, and what was his
Oh.
name?
Kevin?
No.
Jerry.
Jerry.
Yes!
I even wrote him on the top of my paper. Jerry.
There was this one henchman named Jerry that we just like latched onto. He was just the fun.
Yeah.
Everyone bullied him, so we were like,
All the
"Come
other-
on, Jerry!"
But then he like fell off the building and died.
Yeah.
So,
Rest in peace, Jerry.
so Connor's character led, in an attempt to lead guards away from the place,
Yeah.
disguised
Goons.
himself as Alondros.
Oh yeah.
and,
That's right.
and ran away while the other 4 infiltrated the gambling den, and people and Theseus, Adelphos, and Thalassa got separated from Alondros, who had the bag of holding it, all the group's
All the
money,
money.
and and we had this dice game we were playing, and he kept betting more, and he kept winning.
It was
won
insane.
I
I
won
won
like
so much
4,000
money.
gold.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
the whole problem, is that you're like, I'm just going to do one. And then you won, and then
Yeah.
it's like, oh no. I just remember all of us being like, no.
Dude, we were rooting for him the whole as players. We were
Yeah.
like, just bet it all, bro.
Yes,
Yeah.
Just
just do
go
it.
for it. Like, and he
100%.
went ham. He was betting stacks. I mean, it
It
was
was like platinum stacks.
oh
of-
yeah.
It's just so funny because of like the whole, we're there to avenge your dad, and you're just like,
So and some
well,
context,
I can
some
make
context,
some coin in the meantime.
and some context of this is the reason why Adelphos' father was killed by Linus was because Adelphos.
Alondra.
Alondra.
Oh, sorry.
We're gonna
Linus
do
did
that
not kill
again?
Adelphos down.
Yeah.
It's back.
I know.
It's back.
We need the name cards, like.
Oh, that was
I
so.
have them.
Yeah.
Season 2, one of them's getting their name legally changed.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, Adelphos won't be there. So Alondros' dad was killed by Linus because Alondros owed Linus a bunch of money.
Yeah.
A bunch of money.
Which is
And-
why I joined the military, was to earn that money back to pay it off.
But Linus
in
saw
Act
that as
1.
him
Leaving town.
Yeah, ditching
Yeah.
town essentially. So, and it's funny because you guys are talking about moments where like you were sucked into D&D and it became like so real for you. Mine was when I role played as your dad in your flashbacks.
Yes.
That for me was when it was like, oh my gosh, like this is so real because it was so somber and it felt so raw, you know? Because like anyway, I'm not a dad, but I felt love as a father in the D&D campaign for Alondros, right? And wanting, anyway, it was very interesting.
Yeah, no, that moment was really good. Like,
Yeah.
I, like, legitimate, like, when we were doing it, I remember, like, almost, like, crying and, like, almost feeling these really heavy emotions. Like, it was kind of crazy.
Man, that sounds nice.
I kept sliding out.
I'll take it off.
Sorry.
It was the pin holding all my papers together.
Your father.
Why?
Oh.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why is Thalassa always there when Alondros is getting into trouble with money?
Yeah, because you
I
were
don't know.
there
I'm
on the
always
docks.
there, yes.
Yeah.
That's what sets it off, yeah, because when you guys sell back
And
to
I'm always like,
Meletis.
come on.
And I
don't
was like,
do
I don't-
It's because you're the mom of the group.
I
You're
know,
there when
that's
everybody
true.
gets in trouble.
We could have
Yeah.
really used you in Straw.
Yeah.
Oh, so bad.
There are some instances.
Should we really do this with Dorian? Or Doru? No.
No spoilers, no spoilers.
Go check out our Straw
Go check out
campaign.
Straw.
It's, yeah, it's a lot.
It's filled with bad decisions.
And no one to stop us.
No one to stop us. The other time that I think was like, it really popped off was the fight between Theseus and Proteus.
Dude, that fight was awesome.
Intense.
Oh my
It
gosh.
was so intense.
I remember me and Jefferson were just in sync. Like we go into an inn and we're kind of having drinks and Proteus walks in. And Proteus, like being himself, kind of like arrogant, pushing people's buttons, especially Theseus, and then the whole gang kind of stand up for Theseus, which was awesome. It was so cool, like standing up for him. And then he said, Proteus says one last thing, calls Theseus a coward or whatever he wants to say, and then he starts to leave, and then Theseus just breaks and he follows him out into the streets, and then just a battle erupts between the two in the streets. Like there's people watching, like they're fighting. There's like crowds, and me and Jefferson are just like going back and forth. Like it's one of the cool, like I thoroughly enjoyed how much dialogue and role play was in like the battle. Like it wasn't just like, yeah, I rolled a 12, does that hit? Like, okay, well, yeah, no, it doesn't. Like you suck.
It was a duel.
So, yeah.
It was a duel.
It was duel. It was,
It
oh
was.
man, we were like, I was throwing insults at Proteus. And Proteus was throwing insults at Theseus, like
Jefferson was throwing insults at Zane.
yeah, really, yeah, obviously that's what it was. And oh man,
I hate your mustache and you look small today.
no,
Nat 20.
it's like immediately critical success.
It ended with me and Zane actually fighting. So it was fun. I'm just kidding.
We did cut all of that out, but it got pretty intense.
No, it was good. It was intense.
Oh, man.
Really, like, even us just sitting at the table listening to it, we were both like, what is gonna happen?
It was crazy as I'm fighting my dad. It was awesome. And then this is such a cool moment. I waited so long. Whenever we went to whenever we finished raiding Neolantis, we got, a couple of loot stuff, and one of the things I got was a Javelin of Lightning, and I sat on it. I didn't do anything with it for a while.
Right.
And then I'm fighting Proteus, and we're, like sword and spear and clashing in the middle of the streets, kind of keeping it pretty normal, right? And then all of a sudden, pull out Javelin of Lightning, throw this thing at him, and I hit him, and it like scars him up real bad for the rest of the campaign. It burns him real bad.
Yeah.
That's important.
Which is important.
I don't know if you remember this, Jefferson. Was it a close fight?
Probably not.
So here's the thing.
It felt like it
in
was.
the beginning, it was.
Yeah.
Here's the thing is, and this, if you've listened to Strahd, I'm much like Tyson. Like it was 100% legit. It was completely mechanical.
Yeah.
Instead of using, I like to do this as a DM because I feel like it makes fights more interesting. Instead of using like stat blocks in the book, I sometimes, not all the time, but I will sometimes actually roll up like a player character for somebody that you guys fight.
Yeah.
And so I can't remember if he was level 12 or level 15, but he was a higher level fighter, a battle master. And he was sitting on his maneuver dice essentially, and he could attack 3 times per turn. But I was only I was letting him choose to attack 1 time per turn because he was pulling his punches with Theseus. And once it got to the point, which was after the javelin, that Proteus got scared that he might lose, is when all of a sudden he was like,
That's
3
crazy.
attacks, here's my order dice. And because if you guys remember, the fight was kind of close until the lightning javelin, and then all of a sudden Proteus just floored Theseus.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Right.
And that's why. And to peek behind the screen there, that was because Proteus thought he could beat you by pulling his punches. Couldn't, and then got scared, and then pulled out all the stops.
That's even more of like a pride
that's way
punch
cool.
for him.
And I went back and listened to the episode while I was writing this recap, actually, specifically for the fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot that he was actually going to kill you.
What?
Right there. Yeah, he was going to kill you in the streets. He had a sword over your chest and was going to stab you, and Faustus stopped him.
Faustus stopped him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Well, do you think he would have actually gone through with it? Like if Faustus wasn't there?
Yeah.
I bet.
He was just mad. He was pissed.
Actually, he was a little drunk. He was. I want to say he was drunk.
And
Because
he was
Faustus.
probably embarrassed.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
just like
Oh,
the
and-
fact that he's like, I could beat him with
That's
pulling
fair.
my punches,
Dude,
and
yeah.
then you just pop off.
And
we're
not to
just-
mention, and we'll talk about this in the Acros arc, but
Oh,
not
yeah.
to mention the fact, like with your backstory, I mean, he's not your son. You're not his son anymore.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
So
Very.
true.
And then, of course, he's a very extremely prideful person, and
Yep.
his image is everything, and he almost lost in the...
It's like an
Yeah.
honor
To
thing.
his
Yeah,
disgraced
absolutely.
son.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Meletis was a good arc.
It was.
Yeah.
Dude, Faustus came in clutch.
a lot of
Love
times.
Faustus.
Yeah.
A lot of
Faustus is
times.
probably one of my favorite NPCs.
Yeah.
I liked
No,
Faustus.
Faustus was
Jerry.
cool. Jerry. Right.
What about the
Jerry
guy on the boat?
Faust.
Old man.
Yeah, what's the old man's name?
Jethro.
Jethro.
That was what I loved.
That was also, yeah.
Wait, was that with what's the 3?
No,
No,
that
no,
comes
no.
later.
Wait,
That comes
we'll
later.
get there. We'll get there.
Okay, we'll get there.
There was a lot of fun NPCs.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
There was a lot of hated NPCs and a lot of good NPCs. The other thing I wanted to touch on just real quick before we move on is the sort of dip into Vedius's / Calen's backstory.
Yeah.
Sort
Yeah.
of thrown in at the end of the arc.
That was
Yeah.
at the docks, wasn't it?
It was on your way back
our way
from
back.
the library
That's
to go like
right.
ship off. You guys were ambushed.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, it was. It's probably my favorite character backstory I had come up with up to that point, and I wanted it to be so ingrained with Shay's backstory, with Thalassa's backstory, because it was her first time playing D&D,
First time ever.
and so in a weird way, it was kind of like I made the character to protect her character because I wanted to be able to give her opportunities to roleplay and stuff. I didn't think it would come out so fast, but I do remember you asking me at one point, so when do you want the reveal to happen? Like, do you want it to be early? Do you want it to be later? And I was like, I don't care. Whenever you feel like it's appropriate, just bring it up. And I was not expecting it.
I was
to
like,
get
all right,
brought up.
episode 15.
Yeah,
do
I was
remember
not expecting
that
it.
you were like, oh.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I
it
was
came
stressed and I was surprised that like we got attacked and everybody kind of, but then there was like a little period of time where like everybody was just kind of like didn't talk about it. It
Yeah.
felt like for like an episode it was like, all right, we should probably talk about
And
this.
then
We saw those posters.
Yeah, the posters.
That's right. That's another
Of
thing.
you.
It was the posters, and then people were
And it
like,
said wanted for murder.
Of
Murder of
Vedius.
Vedius.
Yeah.
and we're like, why
We
is
were
your
like,
name
what?
on there? And it
Right.
wasn't you.
Yeah.
That's right.
Dude, whenever we, like, when I was reading the script, whenever you're like, oh, our characters, Vedius, blah, blah, Theseus, Thalassa, and, you know, I looked at Vedius, I was like, who is Vedius?
I did the same thing.
I was like, I did the same thing. I was like, in my head, I was like, who is this guy? I was like, is this what, like an NPC?
Was I dreaming? Did we have a guest star?
The only reason I knew it is because this morning I read through what I was supposed to read and I saw it and I was like, that was his name. It was Vedius. I remember.
yeah.
Like,
Even literally when you were reading the recap and you're like Vedius, I was like, who is that? Oh yeah, that was me. I forgot that was me.
Yeah.
yeah.
For the first 2 arcs,
Yep.
Calen was Vedius.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I felt very betrayed by you as a character.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Just a little bit. It
I was
doesn't.
just-
It doesn't linger at all.
I was just.
So another important context is the people that kidnapped Thalassa are part of an organization
Yes.
that Calen was a part of.
Yep.
They knew
I was,
Calen.
like, high up in it too.
Yeah.
Not just. Yeah.
And you came clean with like all of it.
Yeah,
and
pretty
I was
much.
like, I basically hate you now.
Yeah.
He's like, yep, I kidnapped you. Like,
But at the same time, he was the only other, what are we? Triton that was there, and I have like kind of like daddy issues, kind of like I want to feel like close to people, and so I was like, oh, he's like one of me, and then all that comes out, and I'm like, wait a minute, if you're one of me, am I bad too? Or it was a very
I don't know.
different moment for me,
Yeah.
and I was like, wait, if he's trying to kidnap me, can I even be close to any of the group members? And what does that even mean for me going forward and trying to find my family? Like, are they bad people?
I don't think I ever knew how deeply that affect. Like, I knew that it messed with Thalassa, but I didn't realize that it was more than just like, oh, you were trying to kidnap me.
Yeah, no, it was deep. It was very deep.
That's when I started getting really close to Alondros too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when that all happened.
Yep.
Crazy.
That is.
Yeah.
And I remember going back into the after show talking about it, is there were some pair ups, like some friendship pair ups that I didn't think was going to happen. Like Alondros and Calen became really close, which is funny because before we even started, Connor was saying how he thought his character would hate Alondros because they were so different, right?
Yep.
And then a pair up that I didn't think was gonna happen was Theseus and Adelphos.
Yeah.
And that was, I mean, they come from the same place. They come from different classes, obviously, like social classes, very different.
Oh, yeah.
Right, royals and
royalty and
slave.
slave.
Yeah,
Not
But the
slave.
big
Yeah,
kicker,
rags and riches.
rags
Yeah.
and riches.
Yeah,
right?
that's a better way to say
But
it.
the biggest
good
kicker.
and evil.
I wouldn't say.
Hashtag not even.
So, but the biggest difference is Adelphos worships Iroas, who is the lawful good god of war, essentially in battle and honor. And then Theseus, I'm not sure if it came out in this arc or came out later, but Theseus worships Mogus, who is the
Salad guy.
chaotic, evil
Real good guy.
god of war, chaos, and basically slaughter.
Hashtag not
And so
even.
because of those, and they're like the canon between Mogus and Iroas is they are brothers essentially, and they used to be one god, but were separated because of like the conflict between the different phases, like facets of what war is, and so they're always battling each other. And so I thought that Adelphos and Theseus actually would not be close at all.
Yeah.
But they actually became
But
very
they bonded
close.
over war.
Yeah, war brothers.
Yeah, we're war brothers.
Yeah.
Who did you think was gonna pair up?
I thought that Alondros and Adelphos were going to pair up.
And me and Calen.
And I thought that Theseus and Calen were going to pair
And,
up.
later
Because
on,
personality. I mean, everybody eventually like becomes close to all of each
Yeah,
other,
yeah.
right? But I mean, like initially, like the first few arcs, like right out of the gate was like Alondros and Calen were together, like which was like crazy, and then Theseus and Adelphos were brought together. But most of that is just through circumstance, I think.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think.
because-
And all of us were relying on Thalassa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thalassa, we even
To
talked
keep
about
us
this. is
straight.
Thalassa was the mother of the group.
Yeah,
she was
yeah.
the one that
She
kept
kept
everybody
everything
together.
together.
She was the glue.
Well, and like in this arc, both Calen and Alondros basically had their demons from the past come back. So they were
Yeah,
going
that's
through
fair.
very similar things
That's probably
at the
why
same
I-
time.
Went to you is because I was
Yeah.
like,
It's like-
even though I knew everybody else had baggage, I didn't know their baggage. And
Yeah.
yours was out in the open. Mine was now out in the open. I don't think I realized that, but that's probably why I instinctually just kind of was like gravitated towards Alondros.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But one thing that I did want to talk about, not to toot my own horn, but I loved at the end of the fight with Linus.
Dude, that was
Yes.
so
And
cool.
I
Yes.
loved how Jefferson, you let me do this.
Yes.
Yes.
Where
that
like
was so
I,
good.
because Alondros doesn't really like kill people, and like he's never really like killed. I mean, I'm sure if you scrub back, I've killed people, but like the whole thing, like is he,
Jump
he
cut to
doesn't-
Alondros just
yeah, just like slaughtering
everybody.
everybody. It's like I don't kill people,
We're all
but
just sitting there, chill. Dude.
I would have to listen to the whole thing again. I don't know if you actually brought anybody down to 0 hit points.
I don't know
you
if
did.
I have.
I don't know if you did. You were.
But-
Some skeletons for sure.
Yeah,
But I mean, those are-
there might be some
But
things,
they
but
like came back to life.
Yeah.
So
yeah, so it's fine.
Oh yeah,
but-
the skeleton.
but-
We talked about that. Later.
Yeah, but anyways, like I instead of killing him, even though he was about to, Jefferson let me cast Tasha's Hideous Laughter, which brought him down to 0. But instead of killing him, I wanted to just make him like go crazy forever. And that was actually the last time. After that, I told Jefferson, because we leveled up, I got rid of Tasha's Hideous Laughter because I said that was basically the only time I could use it. After that, I was unable to do that spell.
Yeah.
That's so
And so I
cool.
don't. I
didn't
no
know
longer
that.
have it. Yeah.
I didn't
It
realize
was
that.
I
crazy.
didn't
Like
know
Linus
that.
just like you cast that and then Linus like he just starts laughing and laughing and
Yeah.
laughing and he
It
goes
was
crazy.
awesome.
And-
Coolest way to
Finish
get
someone off.
vengeance.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was
Which is way
super cool.
like it's more satisfying than just like killing him. Like,
Well,
knowing, like
and-
he's
wait, and we did any of us even know that though?
Yeah, you all were
Didn't you?
there.
yeah.
Were we
I think
in the
everyone was
group?
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think we kind of escorted him into his
Yeah,
room and we
because
kind of
he
like
made
left
it.
him in there.
Right? You made it in there.
Yes.
Yeah, he had made it back by then.
Yeah,
Okay.
we all made it back in, and then it was like empty in there at the end.
And then we like took some of his cool stuff.
We took a bunch of.
We took a lot of
A lot of money.
We got so
lot
rich
of
from
money.
that.
We robbed that casino.
And then the Magnus's Marvelous Miscellany, you guys bought a lot of stuff.
That's
Which
right.
was
Yeah.
really cool.
Yep.
I bought a grappling hook, and he gave me a bunch of crap that absolutely comes in so much handy later on. it was like a magic, like this like pure magic shop, and then I'm like, can I have a grappling hook? And he's like, yeah, like a special grappling hook? I'm like, no, just a regular grappling hook.
That was so funny. I forgot about that.
And,
He's
and
like,
your flamer.
no, that's later. You guys do later.
Yeah, we go back.
No, but in this moment,
That's
like
so
they're
funny.
spending thousands of gold to buy like souped up weapons, like
Oh,
all
yeah.
this magic stuff. And Thesis is like, I want a grappling hook, and the guy's
He
like,
doesn't get to
I've got a
crate.
cool grappling hook, and he's like, no, just a regular one. It's like just like a crate of
And he
trash.
overcharges me by like so much.
Well, yeah.
But we had so much money, like we were good. So I was like, whatever.
That was so funny. You guys chartered a ship.
Which
Anyway,
was super cool. I love that. I don't know if it was like the most interesting to like listen to, but like I loved buying a ship and like
I worked really hard
Doing all
on
that.
like
That
the
was
different
really,
levels and
really
stuff.
cool.
That was fun.
Do we in this arc we leave, right? That's
Yep,
the very
yep,
end
yep.
of it. Okay, I have to say, as one of the coolest things, and if you've never done this before in like your campaign, absolutely steal this. Like making your characters feel like that the world is alive. And what Jefferson did is that we were like just walking in the street and we start hearing rumors about ourselves. People are like the heroes of Neolantis because we opened the gates for Neolantis and let the cavalry in, and that's why Akros took, or the coalition, I guess, or whatever took it. But we're like going through a crowd, right? And as we go through the crowd, someone's like, "Hey, aren't you the?" And then Adelphos is like, "Yeah, that's us." And we're like, "No, just go." And it was
caused such a conundrum.
it was so cool to have like this like fame, like, you know what I mean? Like it was cool to like have this, to feel important, like the world was alive and it like we were important, you know?
yeah.
And it's, I mean, you guys were level 4 or 5. You were somewhere in that range. I don't remember if it was 5 when you left or if it was 4. But in the book, according to like the player's handbook, or no, the DM's guide, I can't remember which one it is.
Yeah.
But 0 to 5, you are local heroes, is what it says. Folk heroes. And so I wanted them to feel that while they were in the city. Of course, if they went somewhere else, they might not hear that. But I hope you guys noticed that as you guys progressed also in your levels, that your fame also increased.
Yeah, and we got like action figures.
yeah,
and things,
yeah, I
like
know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and much like
Wait,
like
you guys got
Greek
action
heroes.
figures?
Much like
Okay, let's not skip. We got to skip over that one.
Yeah.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
okay, yeah. If you want to keep
Ready?
moving us along, Connor.
Okay. Arc 3, The Maiden Voyage. Our heroes begin their journey and on the first night discover some shady business possibly happening on deck. The party decides to question the crew only to find a traitor aboard. The spy was giving their location to Calen's former organization, the Overseers of the Lost. To their dismay, our heroes then discovered that they were pursued by the Overseer's fastest ships, the Obtainer and the End. A battle then ensued which saw Adelphos nearly killed by a Minotaur and Theseus being forsaken by 2 gods. The crew of the Valiant took a beating but ultimately sank one of the ships. The end of the battle saw Calen dueling his old friend and guildmate Baxor, who he ultimately killed. Left reeling after the intense battle, our heroes and their crew are left to decide whether to pursue more information regarding Thalassa's would-be captors, or to continue to search for the lost Apollonia. While sailing in uncharted waters, they discover a strand of a forgotten goddess's hair, said to reveal the destiny of any who touch it. Thalassa touched it, seeing herself being reunited with her family in a lost city. Alondros saw himself descending an endless staircase into oblivion, while Adelphos saw himself falling into darkness with a bridge overhead. Theseus saw 2 possible futures, one with him fighting alongside his friends, and the other with him fighting against them. Calen was the only one who didn't want to see his destiny. After their visions, the party fought a massive and mysterious monster who came out of seemingly nowhere. Following the battle, the Valiant got caught in a massive current, pushing the crew to what appeared to be the actual edge of the world. Fighting the current with all they had, our party ultimately saved the ship and landed in the domain of Crufix, god of space and time. Oh, what a good arc.
Yes.
It's crazy to see these arcs written down so small
Yeah.
because it's like, wow, all that happened. Like, there's
And-
so
and
much.
more.
But I left
Yeah.
out a lot. I
There's
left
so-
out a lot. I had
seriously.
to because we had to keep this short. Right?
Yeah.
So,
So this is the bare bones. So if you
Yeah.
really have the time, it is
Go back.
amazing.
Go
Go
back
back.
and listen.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah,
back.
you
And
can
if
even
you-
watch it on like faster speed, like
yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely worth
1.5
it.
or something.
And
like.
our episodes in Theros are shorter than Strahd, so it should be easier, faster to get through.
About an hour and a half long.
Actually, the average is like an hour and 10 minutes.
Oh really?
Oh,
Wow.
An hour
there you
15,
go.
yeah.
Yeah.
A few of them are a little longer.
It's so worth it. There's so
It is
many.
so worth it.
There's so many good moments that we're skipping over. Things that really have more impact than that. Yeah.
Things that
Just little
make
nuggets.
it seem more human
Yeah.
than the actual story as well.
Yeah.
This is like the
This
abridged
is-
version
Yeah.
that Alondros would be writing down in his
Yes,
book.
yes,
We haven't even talked about that.
Yeah, this is
That's
it.
what this is.
That's
so
awesome. What? I
No
just
way. At the end, it says by Alondros.
hey, whoa.
Yeah,
Well,
Jefferson
Tyson
actually
wrote the
made
whole
me
play
write
anyway.
this out.
Yeah.
Well,
He
yeah,
was
you,
like, and then claimed it. He was like, Tyson, you're writing
I mean, you
this.
wrote the story anyway. So.
It's true.
It's like
I
the
just,
never-ending story.
I just want to say that we had 2 episodes that covered the combat on the ship,
It would,
Yes.
and that for me was some of the most fun mechanically to play as a DM that I think I've ever done. And also because I had made the 3 ships.
Yes.
That was I had like made out of wood these little
Visually,
ships
yeah.
visually.
So cool.
And credit to Connor because I asked Connor, I was like, hey, like, would the overseers have like ships that they bring, right? And Connor was really good about giving me as much detail as he could. And he came up with the idea that the end and the obtainer, what would happen is like the end was more heavily armored. The obtainer would catch a ship,
Yep.
essentially like stop it, and then the end would show up and sink that ship, and then they would take all the loot. And
Yep.
so like the mechanics of how that worked was so interesting, the way that Connor created it, and then the way it played out in the battle with like the obtainer going up and shooting harpoons into your ship and
Yeah.
like jackknifing it, and then the end coming up and you guys fighting. Oh,
Yeah, and that's like we were casting. Isn't that when we did like a bunch of fog clouds? Like we
Yes.
got all the
Yeah.
Tritons up and had them all cast fog
Yes.
clouds, so,
So
we
we
could
could,
like
like,
The
flip
ship
Flip
maneuver.
around.
hard
Yeah.
turn. And,
Yeah.
That was the
And
first
that was-
time
and
I
that was-
super got into using that kind of stuff in this
Yeah.
campaign. Because I was like, oh, I got to really learn my character and all of the different things that I can do, all the abilities that I had.
And
And
out
I
of-
used my spells way different than normal.
out of everybody, you used your spells
most creatively.
most
Yeah.
creatively,
Hands
without
down.
a doubt.
Every time she used a spell, it was something that I would have never thought of, and it worked every time. It was so cool. Like using
Grasping vines,
grasping vines to like secure the rudder so it wouldn't move. Like,
Yeah.
oh, it's so cool.
Yep.
But that's
This
like
is-
what you
this
get
is when-
from not knowing how to play and not knowing like how things work.
The
Like
Yeah.
typical
it
rules.
just means that it's like open.
Yeah.
You know, where all of us have been playing forever, and so we see a spell and we're like, oh, that's what it does. And it's like you see a spell and you're like, what can I do with this?
Yeah.
You know, and it
It's
just
a
makes
cool
for
way to
such
think
creative
about it.
Yeah.
things. Like
This is when we met the 3.
Yeah.
The three.
The
Oh
three.
yeah.
oh yeah, the
Hubert,
Hubert,
Dubert,
Dubert,
and Lubert.
One of them
And
was like
that's when we were
cheating on the other
questioning-
one's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then the third knew about it but didn't want to talk about it.
We
Oh.
casted a zone of truth to
When
get
we-
some
Yes.
information out of people because we thought there was like spies amidst
Yeah.
us.
Oh,
Yeah.
And in
there
the end,
was.
all we found was 3. Were they satyrs? Or
I
they just
don't
dudes?
remember.
There's 3 dudes.
Yeah,
like one of
3
them
humans.
cheated on one of their wives with like another guy, and they're like, I don't know about
They
that.
were all brothers or cousins
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
something.
Oh my gosh,
Well,
funny.
because you had originally thought that the spy was planted by Apto.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because there was a Leonin aboard, and he
Yes.
was basically planted there by Apto. You thought it was to spy on you, and you found out that it wasn't, and instead you found out that the spy was...
To help us.
No,
Well, no,
it
yes.
was for
The real spy
the-
was
Was
from
from
the
the
Overseers
Hands?
of the Lost.
Oh,
The
right,
Red
right,
Hand.
right.
the red hand.
But the
Yeah.
guy that Abdo sent after us was like he wanted to help us.
Yeah, which was so confusing
Yeah.
at the time
Yeah.
because it was like we thought for sure he was the spy, and then when it turned out he wasn't, it was like
He was like, no.
maybe Abdel's not a bad guy.
Yeah.
Which
Abdo is confusing, man.
tactical,
Yeah.
dude, totally.
I
he
love
just
it.
he
He's very
wanted
back
us
and
to
forth.
be gone.
yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
We
You're like, yeah, well, I don't know.
Stick around to find out why.
This was the end of that battle. We got home at probably, I don't know, 1:30 in the morning,
Yeah,
2
it
in the
was
morning. And I told Shay,
I could go sleep.
I have to go for a walk. I was so stressed out because that was like, the Baxter fight was my moment when it was like, it was so real to me. D&D felt so real, and I literally was so stressed I had to go for a walk for like 20 minutes because I just couldn't.
And the car ride home was silent.
It was an intense. It was a really intense fight.
Yeah.
Between you and Baxter. I
Yeah.
mean, the whole fight was intense. I mean, we saw Theseus manning a ballista.
Oh, and using my smites.
Using smites on the
On a
ballista,
ballista.
to shoot basically sink the ship.
That was fun.
And then,
Sick.
and I left this out, but I think it's important. I was hoping Matt would come so he could talk about it, but he's not. But Adelphos fought this Minotaur, which, like, for him is awesome because, like, Iroas fights Mogus, and he was about to die. And in his moment of need, instead of calling out for his god, instead of calling out for anyone else,
Right.
Adelphos calls out for Theseus to come save him.
And you left your post and you did go save him.
Yeah, and I did.
Yeah.
And even though I knew that Theseus knew that it would cost him. Like, he wanted to go help. He wanted to go help his friends. Like, Adelphos was in need. He was about to die. You know what I mean? And it was so cool. We were in combat, and it was one of those like role play moments that you have in combat. That was so cool because Adelphos, like, Matt just goes, "Theseus, help me!" and it was cool.
But then you remember you couldn't smite
Yes.
against him.
Yes.
Moses wouldn't let you.
I get over there.
It went away.
Yeah.
You were
Yes,
like,
I
"What?"
forgot about
And
that.
that's when you
True
cried out
that.
to Iroas,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
You did,
I'm
yeah.
pretty
Yes.
sure that's
So-
you did.
so-
Oh, that's right.
So
okay,
he
hold on.
tried. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, you
so-
recount it.
Theseus goes to attack this Minotaur, smite ready, goes and then looks at his spear. The smite, like the magical energy, is gone. It basically meaning like Moses disapproves. You don't have like the person that he gets his magic from.
Because
you know?
in this world, magic users feed their power through a god, right? And especially a paladin, right?
Right.
Anyway.
And the paladin is going against the wishes of his god.
Yeah.
And Moses says, "You don't get the magic. You don't get my aid in this. You don't have my blessing." And then Theseus, still wanting to save his friend, calls out to the opposite god of Moses, Iroas, which is
That's a no-no.
it's a big no-no in the Moses book. I found out.
You open the book and like the first page is like big no, and then beneath it is like do not call out
It's
to
a
Iroas.
no list.
No, it's just Iroas with a circle and a slash.
That's the whole book. That's honestly,
It's a piece of
to
paper
be honest, that's the whole book.
And then it says hashtag not evil right below.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
with a winky face.
And then he calls out to Iroas, "Iroas, give me your strength." And then nothing. Iroas says, "I don't care. Sorry, bro. Too bad. So sad."
I remember that, and I remember I remember Zane being like, I call out to Iroas. I'm like, okay, roll a religion check, and you rolled really well. You rolled like upper teens.
Yeah,
you
it was
know,
pretty good.
or
16,
20s,
17,
yeah.
so 18,
Well, and
something
then
like that.
plus a bonus to that, right? And I'm like, you get nothing, and your face was like, what?
All of us were like,
And I'm like, you receive nothing, and you're like, but I like it was one of those like, but I rolled so well, and I was like, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right? And a peek behind that screen is like, okay, well, Iroas, like, if you're so fickle that you don't receive help from one god that you just immediately change to another god, like, why would that god want to help you? You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
But hold on. Don't act like there's no pettiness in it from Iroas.
There was,
Come on.
I'm sure there probably was.
yeah, of
You know,
course.
like,
Well, it's because you were a
I'm
follower of
I'm a
Moses, for
follower of
sure.
Moses, you know?
Right.
Like his opposite. And here's
But
the
also,
thing.
you also see it from that perspective. Is like,
Oh, absolutely.
it's like,
No.
yeah, if you're willing to change just in a battle who you worship, like, why would any god give you their
I
power?
think where I was coming from was Theseus was trying to do good. He was trying to save his friend, and
And
he
that makes sense.
thought that would be enough. Especially it was another follower of
Right.
Iroas.
Yeah.
Correct.
Adelphos
Correct.
worships
Yeah.
Iroas, so he's like maybe this is enough. You know what I mean? Like maybe this would be a good transition. Who knows? You know? And It was not. It
Yeah.
was, things go
No,
south.
there was petty, and that showed the dichotomy of how the gods interact with each other.
Yeah,
too.
it was definite. I feel like it was definitely a big one in like how the gods work and what they think of us and all that stuff. So
Also, your grappling hook came in play on this one.
did it?
Yeah.
No, that's not until when they leave the Isle of Zalus.
Yeah, I think it's in the next. It's
Oh,
in the
is
next
it?
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was.
Yeah.
On
So,
But oh, sorry.
I got one thing too.
I just want to do a shout out to Connor in this, because when we all saw like our destinies and you chose not to, even though I think like you as a player obviously wanted to see
for
that,
sure.
but like I thought it was so cool how like you chose as a character in your character's mind to be like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Also,
So, like,
when we got those, we went outside to hear our.
So nobody
so we
knew.
didn't know
Yes,
anyone else.
you
Nobody
lied
knew.
to us.
I don't know what you're talking
You
about.
lied to us. You told us.
How did you? Wait, hold on. Did you find out?
Tell
about
us-
this?
tell-
I found out because I just read it.
What? So you didn't know before that?
No, but you told us. You told us that you saw us fighting some monster.
Yeah, I made that up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
And
So
I was
we
wondering.
had-
I was like,
you
where
saw-
was that monster? Like, where? I swear that was.
All right.
So,
new
okay.
new things are coming
I'm never
out.
gonna trust one of your characters again.
so Theseus. So everybody left the room when the individuals got their
Yep.
got their destinies, and afterwards everyone came together and in role played what their destinies were, and that felt a little more genuine than everybody being there, right?
Yep.
So Theseus got two. He saw one where him and his companions were fighting a large beast together. So he didn't lie to you.
Oh, that's true.
He didn't lie to you because this says right. He,
I did lie about what
you
I
know,
saw,
Our hero,
but it wasn't that one.
yeah.
Fighting alongside
Yeah.
our friends.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Which what he told you that one essentially. What
Yeah.
he didn't tell you was
That he got
there
another
was
one.
there was another one where he was basically atop a fully grown Orpheus fighting you guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
gosh,
That's-
dude.
Yeah.
Do you understand why maybe Theseus was like, maybe I
And he was
shouldn't
fully
tell...
decked out in the armor.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't tell my friends that, like, either I'm going to help them or I'm going to kill them.
And that was
Like,
so fun. It was so fun to give you guys the destinies and like for you guys like trying to figure out what they meant. Like
Decide how much
Adelphos.
we share.
Yeah,
If we don't
yeah,
share.
like
Yeah.
Adelphos' destiny. Like everyone was wondering about like Alondros' destiny. Like I'm pretty sure a lot of people thought that you were going to die because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That vision, you know, that destiny, which we'll play in later. But
Oh, I just remember what the other thing was. I told everyone that that I did see two visions, and I told them that I saw us fighting alongside each other, fighting a large beast, and then the other one was that it was right after Theseus had fought
Yep.
Proteus, so he was still,
Yep.
feeling kind of like that hate, and he was like, yeah, and the other one's me defeating Proteus in battle, like
Yep,
me
I
standing
remember
over
that.
Proteus,
That's
and
right.
with him
Yeah.
in defeat, which is like the very switch of what happened in Meletis.
yeah,
That's right.
which is a good cover because it was believable.
It was.
Everyone's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Well, and I remember in mine it said that I was like on a throne, but I didn't choose to share that.
Yeah,
I was just like, I just reunite with my family, which
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, in
I
the
just
throne
didn't
room.
say, yeah.
yeah.
Did you have a destiny
Yeah,
for
what-
Calen?
What was his destiny?
Or
Or
can
is
you
it, or is
remember
it
that?
not going to be?
Or does it ruin things?
I am not gonna lie.
Do I marry Thalassa? It was me. It was me with a bunch of orphans around me.
No, because that came later.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't know. I don't know if I did or not. If I did, I don't remember it.
Yeah.
And if I didn't, I
Good.
think
I don't want to know anyways.
sweet.
It should come out very, very, very last. Kind of like how his whole thing never came out.
I think it would have been something along the lines of like Vedius finding peace. You know,
Yeah.
settling down instead of being so.
Wait, my whole what didn't come out?
Which is
Your whole when you got taken away.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll release his
Yeah.
destiny when that happens.
it's interesting that if it would have been something like that, because the reason Calen didn't want to know is because he was so scared to see himself. Like he was like in this weird place of I'm trying to do better, but I'm still like the
what if you
same
don't?
person. But like it would have totally given him like hope, but he was like, No, I don't want it.
I don't know. I'm trying to decide if I would have given you 2. I don't think so. I think I would have given you just 1. I think Theseus was the only one on the track that would have 2 for obvious reasons we'll come to later.
That's fair.
And so, kind of going off of what you were saying, did that then lead into decisions that you make in the next arc that we're going to
the
talk
Tree of
about? Like
Griffiths?
at the...
100%.
Yeah.
Because that's cool.
100%.
That was one of my favorite moments
because
of the whole
that was
campaign.
me, like, that was Calen being like, that was his way of saying, I really don't care about what that god thinks my destiny is going to be. I'm going to take control of my own destiny.
Yeah.
If I'm going to have a happy ending, if I'm going to be a good person, I'm going to be in charge of it. I'm not going to just have the hope of... And it was kind of his way to be like, hey, like, let's hope this goes in a good direction, because he was concerned that, like, he felt like a fraud. He felt like an imposter. He had imposter syndrome big time.
Makes sense. All right.
Oh, boy.
That leads us right into our next arc, which is Arc 4, Gods and Legends. Our heroes navigate the trials of knowledge set apart for them on the Isle of Krufix. After completing the trials, they converse with the god and receive answers to their questions. Krufix directs them to find an island hidden to all except those who are lost, and Alondros and Theseus are given gifts from their gods. Before leaving the presence of the god, Calen forsakes his worship of Phaedax in favor of Krufix, hoping it would ultimately lead him to change for the better. And mechanically, he began multiclassing from rogue into...
a trickery cleric.
Yep. The party then proceeds to get lost while they search for the mysterious Isle of Skies. Instead, they find a storm so strong it washed some crew members, including Adelphos, overboard. While struggling to fight the towering waves of the storm, Adelphos finally succumbs and sinks beneath the waves, which triggers a vision of when he was a boy and his mother told him of his great potential. Eventually, the Valiant and her crew navigated the storm safely and found themselves in a perpetual paradise. The island they land on seems to be devoid of life apart from an abandoned city and Colosseum atop a large mountain. After their landing, our heroes reunite with a living Adelphos who is found by an eccentric and somewhat abrasive Lydia.
Lydia.
She explains the island is a prison set aside for her and her father, a titan named Cleon, cursed to hold up the sky for eternity. Theseus is led to the Colosseum with his friends to find another piece of his artifact armor, a sword, stuck in the sand in the Colosseum. Adelphos refused to help Theseus and watched as his friends fought through waves of undead armies to finally obtain the sword and ultimately winning the day. After getting the sword, the Titan betrayed the group attempting to leave his prison. After narrowly escaping with their lives, our heroes and their crew leave the island to continue their pursuit of Apollonia. This arc was so good!
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, the Isle of Skies was...
Man, I wish Matt was here for this one.
I know.
I
He
know.
was supposed to read this one.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Did I miss anything?
Wow.
Key and Matt? Does anyone want to add anything?
That's... Yep. No.
I want to know,
Nope.
did you have plans of multiclassing in cleric, or did that purely come because of that switch?
No plans whatsoever. Not even going into it did I have the plan. Jefferson had no idea.
No. It came as a complete shock. It was
I
awesome. I
literally
loved it.
wasn't going to do it until everybody was leaving, and I was like in that weird like, oh, I want to do something, like kind of like the moment that we had in Strahd recently.
Yeah.
Similar
It's like,
to
I wanna
that,
do something
where it's
crazy.
just like I want to do something stupid. I just had no prior knowledge, and it was just like I'm gonna do it, and so I just did it.
That's so cool.
I just did it.
I love that though. Man.
Yeah.
This is where
What was
Alondros.
I'm
What?
sorry. What was it that you got from Krufix?
I didn't get it.
No, it was...
Alondros got the
The spell. Write whatever you want
Oh,
spell.
that's right.
Yes.
Yeah, so he got a gift from his goddess, Afara, which is basically a create your own spell for fun, which I thought would be really interesting and a fun way to include Tyson's very spell-heavy character. I mean, he's a bard into the campaign.
And you sat on it
Forever.
long.
Yeah.
Which is good. I'm glad you did. I'm glad you didn't just rush into it.
Yeah.
Because it turned out to be awesome.
Yes.
Oh,
And then Theseus got the first piece of his
That's right.
The
Oh,
gauntlets.
gauntlets.
The-
Which came from the key.
Speaking
Remember, he got the
gauntlets.
key.
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Back when we went to the library in
Yep.
Galatian.
He found a
we-
key in
the
a book.
the burnt book, right?
No, there was the burnt section that Abdo
right.
had burned. That was a vestige to the goddess
Of cloth.
of
Clothis.
Clothis.
This forgotten goddess
Yeah.
of like the temple and stuff. Same goddess whose hair everybody touched. The goddess of destiny.
This goddess comes up a couple of times, and
She's important.
We're investigating. We're not sure at this point what exactly she means and all that stuff.
It's a big
but,
undertone for sure.
But yeah, we got Theseus got the gauntlets of Mogus.
That's
And he used the key he found in the library
unlocked
to unlock it.
Yeah,
I
and
forgot about that. That was cool.
Yours
And it
was
was-
the only one that was locked.
Yes.
Everyone else's gods give gifts freely,
I didn't.
except for
I
Mojis.
didn't
Yeah.
even notice that. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's crazy.
Yep. And then I didn't go up to the tree, and neither did.
Adelphos.
Adelphos.
Nope. He didn't open his chest either.
We just
Yeah.
went back to the ship.
Yep.
And then Theseus getting the gauntlets actually kind of caused a little bit of a rift between Adelphos and Theseus. Adelphos didn't want him to take it. He was like, and then Theseus was like, too bad, so sad. Like, I'm gonna go get him.
I'm a team player, and I'm definitely in it for everyone else and not just myself.
Hey, hold on, come on.
These gauntlets will help everybody.
They will
Definitely
make
no
it so
side
you
effects.
guys can't sleep.
They literally.
Do you understand
What you didn't
that
find
is?
out
They
until
took the
this.
flesh off your hand when you took them off.
These are like several arcs away.
No, this happens here.
Yeah, because once
Yeah,
you
but not
do
before.
two
Not
of-
before I get them. It's not like they're like, hey, like.
No, you get them,
These
but
are
then
bad.
Well, when we
the
get
next few
lost.
episodes you
Yeah.
figure it
Yeah,
out.
Yeah.
Well, not the other one that Connor was talking about. But that
No,
that
No,
happens
it
too.
does.
Yeah.
That happens
Because you
too.
tried to take them off
That's
Same
where we
gauntlets.
get-
because we running. We needed to sleep.
That's right.
Yeah.
Then again, I didn't know that was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Don't forehead smack yourself at
Theseus
me.
is back right now.
Yeah.
We're gonna charge you with the
I didn't know that was gonna happen.
It was so. Okay, one thing I have to say, I listened
Too
back.
bad, so sad.
So I listened back to the arc where you guys got the sword and fought Cleon because I had forgotten something, and I needed to know what it was. I can't remember now. I forgot what I forgot. Anyway, so I went back to that arc. It's so dumb. I hate ADHD, and I listened to that episode to find out, and I ended up listening to like 3 episodes in a row because they were so good, and I forgot how good they were.
Yeah.
And I listened to your like climb up to the top, you finding Cleon, getting the sword, fighting Cleon, and then coming back down. And it was so funny because you got the sword after meeting Cleon,
Oh my
and
gosh.
then you guys went back up because Theseus wanted to.
Oh
and so
my
we're in
gosh.
the middle of this fight. Calen is dying underneath the weight of the
Yes.
sky. Like Cleon's wiping the floor with everybody. And in the middle of the fight, Zane is like, why did we even come up here, guys? And everybody at the same time, I remember this, leaned forward and looked at the guys and said, because you wanted to. It was so funny.
Hey, hold on.
Before that,
was so funny.
when he picks up the sword, it takes over him and he attacks us.
Yes.
And so
I
it's
didn't
like,
attack them.
Your body did.
Yes. I was taking
It
control
was
of.
so funny because Zane was like, guys, why did we come back up here? And everyone's like, because you wanted to.
Don't you
But they're
guys
not
act?
cursed. They're
don't,
not cursed.
Don't act like you guys didn't want to go up there.
And it was so funny.
Tell me right now.
No,
Tell
because
me right
all
now.
of us, I think all of us you were like, what should we do? And you're like, I want to go up there. And I was like, fine, I'll support you.
Yeah.
He's like, fine, I'll support you.
And I
We're
was
like,
like,
I'll
I
support
Literally
you.
everyone
And then-
said, fine, we'll support you and go back up.
And then
Theseus.
I think Matt even said, I don't support you, but I'll go.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like literally all of us were like, we will go because of you.
I
Yeah.
forgot how much freaking Theseus gaslighted us.
Yes.
So bad!
About this, and you're over here,
So
you're over here
bad!
justifying his crap
Yeah.
still, dude.
Well, and Cleon was like so unambiguous about the fact that like what he was doing was bad.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Like he was so like yeah, like I made the sacrifice because I'm a power hungry person.
Yep.
And yeah, like it's bad. Like, and he even was like, yeah, this stuff is cursed. And
Yeah,
like,
he
wow.
did.
He's like, you got-
and
he's
he
like,
was
you
like,
gotta give.
You're gonna have to give up so much
yeah,
stuff.
and he's like,
You're gonna have to give up something you love the most.
It was
Yeah.
crazy.
And
and
he
something
was-
of yourself. Like he
Yes.
took out his eyes
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
Killed
offed
his
his wife.
Yeah.
So we have to talk
For
about
those.
We should talk about who Cleon is. So we get into this Coliseum, and there is a Titan there, a person that
Before we
has been.
talk about Cleon, let's talk about Lydia.
Yeah.
And
Let's
then
do
that
it.
will lead us into
Yeah, I
Cleon.
like it.
Can I also say something real quick?
Yeah.
Because we're talking about the fight. I thought the coolest thing was when Adelphos sat out because he's like, I've always
Yes.
been in the arena. I will not go back in the arena to fight.
Yep.
Yeah.
and he,
Even though
See,
he
and
was
I
the
thought-
most adept to fighting.
Yes.
He was.
like,
But
he's
it-
the only one that was like, I'm not gonna help you, Theseus.
Yeah.
He was, yeah.
So what's interesting is that actually, that his choice to do that, which I like that interpretation because I originally thought that he just refused because of Theseus' sake. I didn't like because it was to fight for something of Mogus, but I didn't think about the fact that he's like, no, I don't want to go back into the arena because of his time that he spent forcing to fight there. I love that.
That's what I
And
always
then
Yeah.
also, if you go back and listen to it, not Theseus. Adelphos is the one that saves the fight with Cleon.
Yes,
Is
yes.
He
Yeah,
is.
does.
Yep, because he's fresh. Everyone else spent all their spell slots, did everything in the arena, but Adelphos is fresh. And Matt wasn't there, so Connor was playing Adelphos mechanically.
right.
Didn't he
And
roll like
yeah.
three nat
He was
20s?
Yeah,
Tons of
yes.
Yeah.
Because
I remember
because Adelphos
this.
is a champion fighter. It was tons of 20s and tons of 19s.
Yep.
And you were using your
He was critting.
yeah, he was critting like a mad fool.
I remember.
I think there was 3 or 4 separate times where you did over 30 damage.
That's right.
Yeah. Because you guys were level 5, so he was attacking
And
twice
that's
by
Go
why
with
then
Delphos.
you were able
Yeah.
to swap back out.
Yeah.
go with
because
Delphos.
he brought him down to 0 mechanically, didn't kill him, and then you guys swapped him back out.
Right, and I remember that Zane and I stayed close enough to give him our power-ups too.
Yep. Yeah, so
So-
if you go back and listen to it, actually Adelphos is the only reason you guys didn't lose that fight.
That's crazy.
And
I
that was
remember
only
that.
because he didn't, and like, it's so poetic. The only reason why you guys, were able to defeat him was because Adelphos chose to sit out
Wow.
to get the sword.
That's crazy.
Yep.
That is nuts.
This is so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's talk
Sorry,
about Lydia real
Lydia,
quick, and then we'll
yes.
talk about Cleon.
Oh, Lydia.
If
What a
anyone
handful.
deserves a happy ending,
It's Lydia.
it's Lydia
It is.
and
Adelphos.
Adelphos.
It is.
So obviously,
I hated her at first.
Yeah.
oh, you did. So
Oh,
did.
she was
Totally
so
did.
obnoxious, dude. Oh
well,
my
she's
gosh.
been trapped on an
bubbly.
island
I
without
get
anybody.
that.
Well-
but chill.
I saw it as Jefferson playing to Matt because Matt's younger than us.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so he played it off more as like a middle school
Teenage
teenage
Yeah.
flirtation,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which would be more towards Matt versus us
Yeah.
being much older. And I thought it was actually genius because I was like, yeah, that wouldn't have worked with any of us.
Yeah.
No.
But it definitely worked with Matt.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like he
100%.
ate it up, and I was like, that is like
And it
so smart.
and I did that too also. Yeah, because I wanted this arc to play a lot to Adelphos specifically. But I also wanted to portray Lydia as though she is older in the sense that like she's been trapped on this island for years, right? That she's not used to socializing. She's kind of crazy because maybe she's been talking to herself, right? Like,
Yeah.
and so I wanted to play
Yeah.
her more erratic in that way.
Which you
was
did a
perfect.
phenomenal
You did a
job. I
phenomenal
loved
job.
Lydia.
Yeah.
She was one of those characters that just like you breathed so much life into. Like you would just it seemed like she was real. She was very cool.
And she warned against you guys going up to the Coliseum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was.
She did.
Just
She was
for
like, "My
all
dad
people,
sucks."
if you haven't seen it, Lydia is the daughter of Cleon. He was the
Yes.
Titan holding up the sky.
Yeah.
And basically, the two of them were in a fight. I mean, rightly so. He killed her mom and stuff.
And actually, when you go back and listen to it, he also, like, after she found out that you held up the sky, you realize that in an attempt for him to escape the prison, he tricked her and made her hold the sky for a while,
that's
too.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, which is another reason why she hates him.
She doesn't
And so she's
visit him at
stuck.
all.
She's stuck on this island all by herself. Which there was like nothing on the island.
No.
There was like no animals.
Nope.
There was
Food.
no food.
There was trees.
no-
That was it.
Trees
Yep.
and a beach.
Trees and a beach.
Probably some
And
rocks.
And it was
a
beautiful all the
dilapidated
time.
city.
Yep.
That's
yeah.
it. And yeah, but other than that, it was beautiful all the time. I mean, obviously, this is very,
Oh,
very,
you played
very
her so good.
heavily inspired by the Greek legend of
Calypso
and whatever that Titan's
Atlas?
Atlas. Yeah, right. Anyway,
So good.
Sue me, but I thought it was good.
No, it was awesome. It was
No, I
awesome.
thought that was
That's fun.
awesome. Yeah.
But so what I was trying to say, so now that we know who Cleon is, Cleon was holding up the sky, and so we're talking to him, and Cleon can't do anything, even if he wanted to, because he's holding up the sky. And what had happened for the fight to ensue is that Calen went, and this was so cool. I loved it. Calen went, and he offered him some water, and then Cleon was like, "Yeah, I'll have some water."
In
And as
pursuit
he,
of trying to change himself for the better.
right, exactly,
Yeah.
So before you guys went down to get the sword,
he offered it the
Calen
first
offered
time.
him some water,
Yeah.
and Cleon refused it, which is important because you guys went back up again to talk to him, and then before you left, Cleon asked for water, which Calen said yes. He essentially wanted you guys to get the sword first so that he could escape and get the sword. And so that's why he asked for water, was to bait you back and switch you out.
Yeah, and then
Because
and
you
then,
had successfully gotten the sword by that point.
Yeah.
And then when Calen went to bring him the water, grabs Calen, pulls him in. Calen is now stuck where Cleon was, holding up the weight of the sky.
Literally having my strength
Score.
my
Straight
It was
score.
scary.
get minimized.
Yep,
I
by
think I
one
ended
every
up
round.
at an 8
Yeah.
by the end of it.
It
I went down,
permanently
4
like
points
brought
or
your
something.
strength score
3.
down.
3
Yeah.
points.
Yeah.
And then
You were at an 11, I think, down
It
to an
stayed
8.
that way.
It's
Yep.
permanent, yeah.
Forever.
But
Yeah.
the reason in the battle where I asked, what are we like? What did we even come here for in the first place? Was because it was a serious question, which obviously
Here he goes.
It was
Dig
so-
himself again.
Hold on. So
on,
I
let
was
him-
Get the
cook.
shovels.
Let him cook.
He's digging it out. Digging himself out
Yeah.
of this hole.
I know. So, as Theseus, I was trying to make a decision whether where Theseus would go and switch positions with Calen.
That's right.
Because
That makes sense.
I'm dumb and I forgot exactly if it was me that wanted to come up here or if it was like a group decision. And if it was specifically for me, I was going to go and switch Calen out.
That makes sense.
And, oh, yeah. You didn't know that? Yeah. Theseus was going to go and he was going to switch Calen out. Because
I remember that.
because he was the reason that you guys had come up there.
Yeah.
So
recall that.
your ideas are selfless, but your acts are selfish. Is that what you're saying for Theseus?
Bingo.
What a good character. We love him so much, and we just hate him at the
And-
same time. He's such a good character.
Which means that like he's doing what he's supposed to do. Like
I know, it's
he's
great.
so good. Like
It would, this whole campaign, if Theseus wouldn't have been how he was, it just wouldn't have been. As
and it
great.
would have really made
It's so
sense.
true.
It wouldn't have been as
yeah.
great.
Well,
It
in,
drove
in-
a lot of the
in
story.
this arc too, just to move along a little bit, Adelphos, we thought we were gonna lose him.
Yeah.
We thought he was gonna stay there
Oh, yeah.
with Lydia.
Oh, that would have
We
been
had
so
no
sweet.
I
idea.
kind of wanted him to.
Me
We
too.
I
kinda
was like,
did, yeah.
oh, you should stay.
And then what did you say? Your character said to Lydia,
I don't remember.
"We'll come back for you. We'll
Oh
find a
yeah,
way."
that's
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
Yep.
So she's like, "I don't know if you can come back because nobody's ever come back. Because now
Which
we
is
know where
really
it
sad,
is."
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll come back.
And the whole reason why they went there is because Apollonia had accidentally made it there before as well.
Yeah.
And had left basically a map.
And we found out that Lydia and Apollonia were friends.
Yep.
Yep.
So and we had to chase that tree.
Yeah, that was
Oh
sad.
yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah.
Well, because I have always, okay, this is in my personal games with these guys.
This is
I
so
have
deep.
tried to get them.
so deep.
I have tried to get them before we started the podcast when we were playing in private games. I've kind of been the forever DM with these guys, and I try and get them to fight these treants, always, and they always never fight these treants ever. They always run away all the time, and so I thought it was going to be so funny to put this treant in, and they're like ready to fight him, right? And then the treant runs away.
It was really good.
It's so funny too because like it's not like we intentionally did that.
No.
It was just every time we would fight him, it'd be like
You just
we'd be
leave.
getting like pelted by rocks,
And we didn't know where it
We
was.
couldn't know where it was coming from,
And
so
then
we're like
your
we're running
character,
away.
like,
That was the
dipped.
last time you guys saw Yeti.
He just plane shifted away. Yeah, but then the other time you guys were actually going toe to toe with the treants, and then you guys just ran away. You're like, we can outrun these guys, and then you left, and I was like, why?
And
This
so
is just a tree,
and we were just setting you up for just such a funny inside joke for us.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, and Adelphos learned how to basically spell /read.
Yes,
that's right.
Yes.
Lydia was
Lydia
teaching
showed
him.
him.
And he
Yeah.
left the rose. This is important. He left the rose on the island with Lydia.
Yes, he
That's
did.
right.
And it stayed there.
Yep.
Oh,
It
it
stayed with
did.
Yep.
That's
Also, just a little thing. Lydia taught me more about healing, too.
That's right.
Taught me more about how
Oh,
to heal
really?
you because you were like
Yeah, you have
so
one of the
messed
serious
up after
effects.
holding the skies.
Yeah.
And so she was like, "No, I got him," and I was like, well, I'm staying here." Because I started to care about you more
yeah.
again.
That was important. So at the end of the fight with Cleon, right?
Yes.
Yep. The end with the
Yeah,
fight with
when I thought
Cleon.
he was dying.
Yep.
Yeah.
Calen gets pulled out into Thalassa's arms.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what you say.
I don't remember.
Yeah, but then Thalassa says, "I forgive you," and then that's when we end.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because he almost dies for the group, so.
Yep.
Oh.
I don't know.
And then that's when the little, when they start to hit it off again.
Well, he
which,
starts to hit it off, and I'm just kind of still oblivious.
which we
True.
will continue now with Shays.
Let's do
Okay.
it. Arc 5.
So, Arc 5, Atlantis. After leaving the Isle of Skies, our heroes decided it would be best to deal with their pursuits before continuing their quest. Using Calen's knowledge of the Overseers, they stage a heist intended to overthrow the leader, Care. Once inside the hideout, our group discovers the organization had been disbanded and how Care had found a way to get to the lost city of Atlantis. Following the clues left behind for them, the party plunged into the depths in search of answers. Their journey leads them to
Just a ship.
Yeah, sorry, typo.
Yeah,
Grave.
I'm not a good.
Graveyard, where they
Actually, yes,
encountered
thank you.
ghosts of past, and Adelphos is cursed for having
For having
taken the helm.
took a cursed helm. Remember
Yeah.
that?
Oh, yeah. And the
Yes.
shipwreck.
Yep.
Mhm.
Which actually it was very important for a later arc.
Yes. While following Care's trail, our heroes run into a tinkerer, one of the original residents of Atlantis. He agrees to help them so long as Care and those behind a plot to restore Atlantis to its former glory are stopped. Using a device fueled by the fabled Atlantium, the party finds the entrance to the Forgotten City and are greeted with warm reception. It is during this reception that Thalassa is reunited with her family, like in her vision. It is here where she finds out that she is actually descended from Atlantean royalty and that Care is in fact her uncle, and her father is in power. That night, Calen and Theseus attempt to sneak around the palace for answers and are instead caught in a fight to the death with some guards. They flee the scene but are pursued by the populace of the city. Fearing the worst for his friends, Calen surrendered himself to the king in attempt to solidify his power and to appease Thalassa. The king decides to forego punishment and exchange for the group to find an ancient Atlantium artifact for him. The group then proceeds to delve beneath the city with Care as their chaperone, in search of the lost items of Atlantean royalty. They discover a tomb which Thalassa's brother had previously tried to enter but was mortally wounded doing so. Inside lies the artifacts, the heart of Atlantis, and a large being guarding it all. After obtaining the relics while simultaneously fighting the being and Care, our heroes narrowly escape. Once back in the city, Thalassa changes her father's right to rule, and after defeating him, abdicates the throne to her brother, who was healed by special water gifted to them from Nylea. Our party then bid farewell to Atlantis before being brought in front of the god of the sea and the tides, Thassa herself, who, in gratitude for their intervention gives her the powerful bident to Thalassa. Yeah.
Oh, sick.
I forgot
Yeah.
about the water
Yep.
that we
I didn't.
gave to him. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Because that
Lots
was
to
like an
unpack.
internal battle for me. So much.
I have often gone back and wondered if I did the right thing by completely disbanding the overseers. Like, you guys showing up to the hideout thinking you're going to fight this organization and it's just not there. Like,
No,
almost
I thought
that I
it was
ripped that
cool.
away from your backstory.
Yeah.
You know? But I wanted to tie it in
No, I
to Thalassa.
I
So.
loved it.
Well, and originally, you guys, because I've never played D&D before, and originally they're like, "Hey, we need backstories for everybody." I'm like, "How do I make a backstory?" And so I came up with basically my family, and then I said, "You have all the power."
Yep. And I followed that model for Tyson, but gave him even less in Strahd.
His name's Silas. He's a cowboy skeleton man.
You
'Cause
can
I-
choose the
You
rest.
can fake the rest.
Well, I wanted to be surprised the whole time. I didn't want to know something that was coming up.
Which
I
is
just
the fun
wanted to
part
be
about it.
Surprised.
And I enjoy that part. There's a balance that you can have, players.
I know what my next
Cool.
character's backstory is going to be. Whatever the DM wants.
Nice.
Nothing! You make it all up!
Good day, sir.
Every campaign we do, one person has to do a dementia character.
No, so this one was, oh man, with everything. Oh my gosh, you guys starting that fight, trying to find clues and
Oh my
stuff.
Yeah, you know, I'm starting to think that, like, after this little go around with me and Theseus, and then our one in Strahd, which if you haven't watched it, you should go watch it. I'm starting to think that I'm the problem. I'm starting to think it's
Connor's like,
me.
I'll just do it. Well, because Thalassa was separated from the group because she was staying in the
with
family's
my
quarters.
Yeah,
sister.
so you're
Yeah.
like forced to stay there.
This arc, and I think something that's important is you thought originally that Care was your father
Yes.
because in an attempt to prep everybody for like the heist, Calen used disguise self to appear
right.
as like the main players of the organization, including Care, which is the twin brother
Yes.
of Thalassa's dad.
And you were like, that's my dad.
Yes,
We were like,
that's right.
what? We're
And then it made Thalassa like, holy crap, yes, I am evil. I
Yeah.
come from an evil family. Everything that I thought is coming true, and it
Yeah.
was freaking me out.
And what's important too is you learned a lot, and we didn't talk about this. Crewfix and Cleon taught you guys a lot about like what Atlantis actually was. So Crewfix told you that the key to finding Atlantis is to find the Tinkerer, who was the Triton that you guys
That's
found at the
right.
bottom of the ocean. And then Cleon talked about, you guys specifically asked him, I hate that this sticks on my back. You specifically asked Cleon about Atlantis because he was living at the same time Atlantis existed, and you had learned that Atlantis was really technologically advanced
Right,
and didn't rely on magic, which is why the gods smote it essentially.
right.
What were the questions that we asked Crewfix? Because Crewfix, the god of space and time, we showed up and he was like,
Oh,
he's
he was
all
so
knowing.
vague.
Yeah.
He was very vague. He's all knowing, and he's like, I'll give you a couple of questions, and we can ask him whatever we wanted. And I remember one was to find out where Atlantis was.
Yep.
I think we might have asked another one that was also
maybe
kind
about
of
where to
Apollonia.
find Apollonia.
where to find Apollonia.
And he's the one that guided you to the Isle of
Skies.
Skies.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
That's right, yeah. I don't remember.
No, you guys
The
had already
species
known
evil.
about. No, you guys had already known about the Isle of Skies.
We had
You
to
wanted to find out
figure
how to
get
find
there.
it,
Yeah.
and he's the one that told you only the lost can find the Isle of
That's
Skies.
right.
Yes.
And we were like, we gotta
And
knock
that's
him
when,
out.
Oh, yeah.
we forgot about that. We totally
Honestly,
skipped over
I'm
that.
sure we're skipping
Yeah,
so
we're
much.
skipping
Even
over a lot.
I'm remembering stuff, and I keep wanting to go back. So I'm
Yeah.
sure we'll go back to other
You'll
stuff.
watch it, you'll know.
I loved the journey getting to Atlantis.
Yeah.
I thought
was
that
so
was
cool.
so fun.
Yeah, we had a problem because Calen had keen mind and could never get lost, but only the
Well, that
lost.
was for Zalus.
That was for Zayden.
Oh,
No,
that's for Zayden?
that was
that's
for Isle of Skies. That was
Isle of
for.
Skies.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right. But
the-
either way, we couldn't
We
find.
found that like secret tunnel that was
In
Above
the
the-
and that was when
overseers.
Adelphos did his. You're like, he's like, I want to do a backflip into the water, and you're like, roll for it. And he rolled a natural 20.
Yeah,
and
nobody
nobody
saw
saw
it.
it.
Yeah, that was
he
so
was the
funny.
last one to go.
Yeah, it was a perfect backflip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because
Oh, I thought that this was perfect because when we had bought the magic items in Melitus,
Yeah.
we were all like, we're going on a boat. And so we all bought things that were like, help us swim, help us do things.
That's
and
true.
deep down, I was like, I want to buy these things, but I know they're never going to get used. And then when you pulled this out, I was like, yes, we get to use our underwater stuff. I
Yes,
was, like,
because you guys were going to go
stoked.
underwater. But the only person who didn't do that was Theseus. Theseus was
What?
like, I'll
At least
buy
you got
a
some
spell
scrolls.
scroll of water breathing. And you're like, are we going to be down here longer than 12 hours? And everyone's going to be like, yeah. Like, you guys are going to be down here for a long time.
Let's see, I
For,
got
like,
my
multiple days.
I got a spear that had like elemental lightning in it. That was a really cool. And then it also, oh man,
Grappling hook.
the grappling hook, and then also the what was the helm telepathy. That was one of the
Yeah.
funnest. That was one of the funnest items I've ever used in D&D. It is so much fun to be able to send people messages because you can have side conversations with people.
Yeah.
But you only ever used it to like talk about bad things
Yeah.
with other people.
Yeah.
Or to prevent people from knowing your real intentions.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
It was awesome.
No, the Finding Atlantis was fun. I definitely patterned it after the Atlantis movie. So
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
sue me. But it was really fun. Much like that one, there was a crystal. It was Olantium that powered essentially
Which I
all the
had the whole
gadgets.
time.
Which she had to have the whole time, a gift from her father. From her father before he left.
Wait.
Which was the only thing that you gave
Wasn't
me.
it the
No.
dagger or the sword?
The Talapa.
No, the topple.
Topple.
Yeah.
Topple.
Which was like a weapon.
Yeah.
It's a weapon from like 3.5
The
or like 3. It's called a topple. And anyway,
And you didn't even know about it until
Nope.
I told you about
yeah,
it.
I had to look it up. But
She
we
did
used the
so much
Olantium.
research.
I did so much research.
We used the Olantium in the weapon for her to find her way to
Yeah.
Atlantis, which was
And
lost.
the Tinkerer had to make you a breathing apparatus.
Which was
Yeah,
sick.
see, it all worked out. It all worked out.
But before all of this, while we were at the Tinkerer, me and Adelphos go swimming off.
And that's
into
where
the
Adelphos gets.
shipwrecks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where Adelphos gets cursed because he took a helm.
And then I literally,
Helm of
I
the
was
Heathen
like,
King.
oh crap, I can't help you because it was all these different tunnels and craziness because all
That
the
was
boats
so
are just
fun.
compiled upon each other. And I was like, I can't help you, so I had to swim back and get you because you had keen mind so that
Find
we
your way
could
back.
find our way
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
thought
finding
I was
Atlantis
going to
was
make
fun.
him die.
Yeah, it was. I forgot about that whole having to come get me and bring me back
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
find Adelphos.
And Adelphos.
And
is-
that whole time he was alone is pretty cool. Like, you gotta,
Yeah, it was
you gotta
creepy.
see
It was
that.
really cool.
yeah.
And then you guys use the Olantis.
Mm-hmm.
Olantium to follow basically like a light beam down
Yeah, it
into
was
like
really
the
cool.
depths.
The cracks.
Yeah,
and
the
stuff.
crevices
Yeah,
of
that
the
was
ocean.
terrifying.
Yeah.
I was uncomfortable during this whole campaign. I have like an irrational fear of deep water.
Yeah.
And not being like, if I look underwater and I
Claustrophobia.
can't see the bottom,
Yep.
wigs me out.
Yeah,
So this
same.
whole campaign, I was like, or this whole arc, I was like, I'm so uncomfortable. I don't like this.
Yeah.
Well, and we do have to note that he did steal that helm, Adelphos,
Yep.
because it definitely plays into the rest of the whole.
It was a
Yeah.
cursed
Yeah.
helm. It allowed him to essentially
Crit.
do
Like
reckless.
rage.
Yeah, to go
Oh,
rage.
that's
It
what
let
it
him
was.
rage.
It let him rage
As
as
a
a fighter, which is
fighter.
awesome. But it basically made him undead.
Yeah.
Cursed
So then
item.
Cursed
he had
item.
to steal your hat all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
I gave
So
him
he
the
wouldn't
hat.
look because he was slowly becoming dead essentially.
Yeah.
Which is important for later. Down in Atlantis, what did everybody think about that down there?
It was so opposite of what I anticipated would happen. Like, I didn't think that we were going to come in and it was going to be like, oh, royalty. Like, I thought it was going to be a espionage. We're sneaking through the city. We got to find these things. Like, I thought it was going to be way different than, like, a warm welcome. Like, hey, come on in.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it was, like, such an uncomfortable warm welcome.
It was a warm welcome, but it wasn't at the same time.
It was a cold,
One,
warm welcome.
finding out that my dad's a twin was nuts. That was nuts. That was a good twist.
Yeah.
But then two, I was locked away from you
Yes.
guys like
All
most
the
of the
time.
time.
Yeah,
Yep.
it sucked.
And they were like, "You're not leaving ever." And
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then I actually said that you guys were more my family than my father was, which was a
Oh,
big
I remember
deal.
that.
Yeah.
And that's why you guys got to stay.
That's right.
And then that started the whole battle between he and I, too.
Yep.
And I thought,
And
like,
finding my brother all, like, injured down in the prison.
I forgot all about that, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
your brother. But like, I thought that Atlantis was going to be just ruins. And then we show up, and it's like
A thriving
lived
city.
in. And then I was like, how are we going to defeat this guy when he literally has an army and is the king? I was like, how are we going to do that? Like, I thought it was just going to be some dude at a bunch of ruins.
Yeah.
You know?
Sitting on a bus and throwing.
Yeah.
What's up?
Exactly. Like,
Like,
I was like,
Indiana Jones, like fighting one guy in the tomb.
yeah, versus like,
A nation.
Well, and then
Yeah.
not only that, then we have to go down and find the different artifacts
yeah.
where there's
You
another
said that
thing
that was your
guarding it.
favorite
I was
fight
going to say,
ever.
that is still one of my favorite fights ever.
Really?
Because it wasn't just about hit points. We went down, we had multiple objective like things to do, and then the combat was just one of the aspects. And so we were trying to fix the what was it, the center,
The gears.
yeah,
in
the
it.
gears, and then we were going around in the
Well, there
different
was-
sarcophaguses.
Well, yeah, so
the
there's different sarcophagi with the artifacts inside. You didn't know where the artifacts were, so
Yeah.
you had to open up every single one. And then there were like pillars that were like zapping people as they went by that would stun them for a
That's what it
turn.
was.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you were trying to prevent Care from destroying the machine in the middle.
That's
Because you found out that actually, which this is important again to the overarching theme of the story, which will also continue in season 2, so I can't talk too much about it, that when legend says that Heliod got jealous and smote the city, what that actually means is Heliod talked to the Tinkerer, and the Tinkerer created a machine that sunk the city.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that's why the Tinkerer was like, just stop them at any cost.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Because there's a threat from Atlantis rising, essentially creating a problem with the mainland. Essentially, because Philos's dad wanted to go to war with the mainland and wanted to like spread Atlantis.
They wanted
everywhere.
to be alive again.
Yeah,
You get some Atlantis, and you get some Atlantis.
you get Atlantis.
You get Atlantium.
You get dictatorship. You get a dictatorship.
Yep.
Anyway, and so basically, yeah. And it's sad because the Tinkerer was also cursed to live at the bottom of the ocean forever, to forever tinker, to protect the secret of Atlantis
Yeah.
and to make sure it stayed beneath. So,
And we met
But-
his like brother or dad.
his son.
His son.
Yeah.
That's right.
But during that fight, there was also a giant mech
That's what
walking
I was
around.
saying.
And so it was like
Yeah.
there were so many.
Not only did we have to
things.
defeat my dad, we had to defeat
And
his mech, we had to defeat
Yeah.
Care, we had to like.
And we
And
didn't
Kara
even
had
kill the
Kara
mech.
had a helmet. Yeah,
we
you did.
left it alone
Yeah.
so it could protect it. But we
Yeah.
got a ton of gold
Yeah, you did.
from those. And like, just
Yeah.
like, I don't know. It was just such a
and
cool
you wanted
fight.
to take his helmet.
And yeah, because it was so. Care had the helm of Mogus. I forgot about that.
man,
Care
there's
had
a
Oh,
Care
that's
had the
right.
to this
Care
fight.
had the
Yeah.
helm of Mogus. So we were down there, and I'm gunning for Care, because I want the helm.
And the story behind that is because the Overseers of the Lost are tasked with, like, one, they just steal things, and two, they're also tasked with, correct me if I'm wrong, Connor, because you made them up, finding, like, the lost artifacts and weapons of Theros, like, of legend. And so the behind Care was actually tasked by a previous follower of Mogus to find the helmet for him. And instead of giving the helmet to the follower of Mogus, just kept it for himself. Because he liked the effects of it,
That's
essentially.
right.
cool.
Does it have anything linked in with Indiana Jones and the Nazis?
Maybe.
No,
We should
this is
also
good.
talk about
Can I get a list of your
Thalas's
favorite
brother.
movies?
Yeah, just so we
study?
know what's coming next season.
My brother.
No.
What's my brother's name again?
Evander,
Vander. That's
Yep.
right.
who was an artist.
And how we used how Calen used the potion given to us by
Nylea.
Nylea.
A legendary potion that could cure any ailment, and I gave it to them for a specific purpose, which we'll talk about
It was
later.
not for
It was
this.
not for.
But I'm glad they
so
used it.
many
I'm
different
glad they
instances.
used it because it saved his life. He was so far gone that magic wouldn't have been able to heal him.
Yeah.
Other
And then
than
he
this.
took over
That was the only
Yep.
way I could
afterwards.
leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, she abdicated the throne because he promised he wouldn't rise Atlantis, but would just try and grow and thrive the city there.
Well, and
Your
I
sister certainly wasn't going to run.
yeah, she was kind of ditzy, and she's a jeweler. No, But it was also more, I don't know, if you listen back, you'll hear my final speech, but I didn't even know I didn't know what I was going to do this whole time. And then the very end, I was like, I'm going to give it to my brother. I didn't even know it. And then I was like,
and it worked out
no,
great.
this is what he needs to do.
Yeah.
He's the natural born ruler. I'm not. I just want to go have adventure.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's
cool.
interesting. I really loved the conversation that Calen had with Evander, because both of them
Yes.
shared this same commonality that like both of them were criminals and did not consider them very good people. And
Yeah.
Thalassa was the one that brought the good out of both of them
Yeah.
to
That
change
was
them for the better.
Such a good conversation.
And other things were said.
And other things were said.
It was awesome.
I'm in love with your sister.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and then you guys met the goddess of the sea,
Which was
Thassa.
wild.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Didn't think that was
Just-
going to happen.
Because we were leaving the city through the portal, and
Yep.
boom, we were in front of her.
Yep.
Yep.
And she again, this is important.
Got an
She-
artifact.
You got an
Yeah.
artifact, which is awesome, and she thanked you for essentially intervening and preventing Atlantis from rising,
Yep.
which is something that she didn't want either, mainly because it would throw off the balance, but because she wanted Atlantis to be kept separate, to be
Yeah.
its own thing, for
That
the
was
sake of the
change
Atlantean
that
people.
it needed to be was under
Yeah.
the water.
Yep.
Is she the last god or goddess that we met?
That we've seen.
No, because later we meet.
No, hell yeah.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, we will talk
Yeah.
about that, yeah.
Oh shoot!
Oh, that's
Yeah, remember? Yeah.
That's a big
Freaking
deal.
hell yeah!
Okay,
Yeah.
let you, to this point in the story, you have met, and I'm going to include everybody, even though not everybody have met them. You have met or interacted with through visions and whatnot. Karametra, Nylea, Mogus, Ifara.
Who's the nature one?
I
Is that?
said
Oh, that's
Nylea,
not the.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Ifara, Crufix, I would count the Cleon Titan as a big deal for meeting as well. Not quite a god, but still crazy. And then Thassa.
So 7.
So 7 mythological, godly creatures.
Which
in
in
this Odyssey.
Theros, how many? Do you remember how many are
think
in
there's
their pantheon?
I think there's 12.
12. So
Yeah.
12 or 7 out of the 12
Cleon's not in the Pantheon, so 6 out of
Okay,
12.
so
So
half
far.
so far.
so far. But anyway,
That's
isn't that wild?
cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Bunch of ragtag yahoos.
Which I think is just so cool for the setting, because that is a definite key point for running a
Theros
campaign.
Because piety,
Yeah, because gods are just so influential in everything.
just like the Greek stories.
Yeah,
which
and it makes it
really
so
fun.
cool.
Piety's pretty cool.
Because
Yeah,
in
I
most
really like
D&D
that system.
things, maybe a god shows up for part, or
Yeah.
Or maybe it's
Or
one
some
character as a
character.
warlock, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But for this, it's
They are involved. They're
yeah,
alive.
and it's so
Well, and
cool. I
it's
love it.
also all of our characters know that this is not a common thing, that gods just appear all the time.
Which adds
Yeah.
to your fame.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, I'm just remembering stuff that happens
After this?
after this. Yeah, I was
We'll
just
talk about it, I'm sure.
Well, then you move
Don't forget,
along.
okay, it's your
Let's
turn.
go
Yeah,
on
let's go.
to-
Let's go!
okay. So
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, actually, never mind.
What?
This is great. You're good.
Okay. Arc 6, Apollonia. Our heroes return to the surface world only to find out their trip to Atlantis has cost them something priceless. Time. Upon their reuniting with old friends, they learn that Apto is about to consolidate power with Akros and Meletis, which would bring about war with Setessa. Our heroes then set out on the final leg of their quest to find Apollonia, a mysterious island called Zalus. On a mysterious island called Zalus.
Thank you. Sorry.
After sailing
It was late when
south,
I wrote
they
this.
reached the location of the island during the day of Heliod, or the summer solstice. They are then mysteriously transported to an island of solid gold, seemingly abandoned. Once docked, the party begins a search of the island, hoping to find their prize. Instead, they come across the only inhabitant of the island, a man by the name of Chrysos. Allowing them to stay in his palace, Chrysos explains that his golden domain is punishment for his lust for wealth. His solitude was the result of all of all of the inhabitants of the island wanting to leave after he was cursed. He showed them around and even boasted a collected piece of armor, the final piece of the armor of Mogus, the breastplate. During an attempt to acquire it, Theseus mysteriously disappears overnight. The next morning, the party searched the island only to find their ship and entire crew missing as well. Ultimately, they confronted Chrysos in his chamber, which was filled with golden statues, people frozen by his golden touch. His centerpiece was Apollonia, and her entire ship turned to gold. Our heroes fought valiantly amidst the menagerie of trophies, which included their now golden friend, Theseus. Finally prevailing, Chrysos died, lifting the curse from the island and freeing the people trapped there, including Apollonia. Upon receiving news of her father's death and Apto's play for the crown, Apollonia commandeered the heroes' crew and ship and requested their help to retake Akros.
I want to add that we forgot in the last arc that the Tinkerer actually had the shield of Mogus, which he gave to Theseus in exchange for keeping Atlantis from rising.
Yes.
Very important.
That's right.
Everybody else got some kind of... Everyone got to kind of create their own gadget or trinket or
Yeah, I
something
got
like
my
that.
lockpicking gun. It was just a Glock 17.
Just a stick of
I got
dynamite.
my cool thing that brings back my weapons.
Oh
for
yeah,
me.
Yes.
Chain of
Right.
returning.
Yeah.
What did you get?
It's basically like a ring of spell storing.
Yeah, but it's
Oh,
like a
that's
music
cool.
box.
It's like a
Right,
music
right.
box, and I gave it to.
Yeah.
I put a couple spells in it and gave it to.
Yep, that's
Calen.
right.
Yep. Mechanically, you have like there's
I think it was
it
like
can be up to 5 spell slots. So you can
Yeah,
do
or
like
something
5
like that.
level 1 spell slots or 1 level
level
5
5.
spell slot.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
I was pretty proud of that.
I think it's super cool.
And Adelphos got like a pen, not like a
A pen that turned
like
into
a
like a
pen that turned into
switchblade.
a
Shield?
sword.
A
Essentially,
shield, sword?
sword. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically,
It was a switchblade.
yeah.
It was cool. But
Anyway,
Also, I have to mention something that wasn't in here, and it happens right after. I want to say it was right after the
Atlantis.
Atlantis arc. That Theseus gets a letter from.
Yes.
And so
Yes,
he actually
yes,
gets
yes.
he actually gets several letters throughout the course of this Odyssey. I think he gets 2. One was actually before Atlantis.
Yep. After the Isle of Skies.
After the Isle of Skies. Do you remember what it said? I remember it was who
Yes.
was
One
it
on the
from?
ship,
It was.
right?
I can tell you
Oh.
exactly what it
Yeah,
was.
okay.
So it was
They
Proteus.
are important.
It was Proteus writing to Theseus, and Proteus basically said that. So part of Theseus's backstory that we learn is that he lost in the Iroan Games to a guy named Vasilis.
Yeah.
And Vasilis, for the first time ever in Akros history, won the games a second time in a row. And the only reason Proteus wrote this letter was basically to throw it in the face of Theseus, that Vasilis won a second time, and that the love of Theseus was going to be married to somebody else.
Oh shoot! I forgot about
Yep.
that.
Sophia.
Yeah. Big stuff.
And then another thing that I forgot to include when it says that that the group lost something precious time, they lost like 8 months. So for every day they were in
Yes.
Atlantis, they lost a month, which Jefferson I love to do in my campaigns.
Every campaign, there's always going to be a time jump, no matter what. Like,
It makes it so fun. It's
It
so
is fun.
interesting.
It was a perfect time for it.
yeah,
It was, and I'll tell you what, it definitely changes some things up.
It changes a lot of
Well, a lot
stuff.
of
James-
people thought we were dead.
Yeah, because you went missing for 8 months.
That's
So when
right.
when you guys come back to the hideout, a lot of your crew has left. Like a lot of your
Hideout.
crew has abandoned you guys because they didn't believe you would come back. And some of these crewmates that you traveled with and like
That's right.
went on these amazing journeys with left. But the other benefit of you guys being gone and assumed dead for 8 months was that your party became legend. It became
Right.
yeah.
myth. It became something talked about. So your fame increased with your absence.
And Orpheus grew up.
Yeah,
Orpheus grew up, too.
grew up and grew a new love for somebody else.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this arc.
Wait, we do have to talk about the. Well, I mean, not wait, but this is part of the arc. But because immediately after we get up, we meet up with Faustus and some other people, part of a resistance in the hideout.
Trying to stop Apto from essentially pulling this power play.
Right. And we can start from there. But
Well, yeah,
Well-
because another thing that's important is that Apto, in creating this power play, is trying to outlaw the worship of the gods, essentially.
That's right.
Which God's power comes from their worship,
Mm-hmm.
and if the gods are gone, like basically the
The earth
world like ceases to have
Function.
order.
yeah, the gods just cease to exist.
Yeah.
So, which is exactly why he
Which-
was burning down the library so people wouldn't remember the god.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
So back to this. Apollonia.
Oh.
Freaking Apple.
Yeah, besides
dude.
besides the fact that Apollonia is the
time out,
worst.
time out. We'll talk about her later. Let's talk about the Isle of Zelus, like
Yes.
from beginning to
Okay.
end.
I loved at the table when we were eating. So we get to the island, and we're just like, we go into this empty temple, basically, that's like this big circle,
A palace.
this palace, and then we run into
Chrysos.
Chrysos, and he was like, "You guys must be famished."
Sorry.
You're good.
And
Actually, I will have to take this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be
good.
right, Mick.
But anyway, so we get there, and he's like, "You guys must be famished. You can have whatever you want." Huge golden table.
Yeah.
Huge. Which you want to steal for all of your orphans.
I
And,
do.
Because it just creates food.
yeah. And then I love that you didn't actually eat, but you made it look like you were eating the whole time.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
And that was a little bit of like metagaming, but also like I kind of wrote it off as like Alondros was very red, and so he just didn't like trust taking food from random people,
Yeah.
Especially
on
cursed
islands,
by
especially-
gods
yeah, and so.
in mythical islands.
But I honestly thought, I was like, this food is going to either one, turn us all into gold, or two, curse us to never be able to leave.
Yep.
So I was like, I'm not eating that food.
It was just good food.
It was just
It
good
was.
food.
It was just genuinely good
It's
food.
good soup.
That's good soup.
Which Chrysos didn't eat because everything he ate would turn to gold.
Yeah, and that was another reason, is because he
That-
wasn't
yeah.
eating.
Yep.
And so I was like, I'm not going to eat that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I forgot about that too.
yeah, that's...
I just
Wild.
remember digging in. I was just like, oh, I just go in.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole island was.
Yeah, that was.
I
was
had
just
planned that.
off-putting.
Oh,
I had planned that since the very beginning.
Well, and I
That you guys would
love-
eventually get to there. I love the idea.
Well,
Zane
and
appears.
I loved
A
also-
wild
Zane.
Zane appears.
What?
You know?
I have about another 45 minutes.
Oh, sweet.
I also loved
30,
that
40 minutes.
we got there on the day of Heliod, but it was like during the golden hour
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
The summer solstice.
because everything's gold.
Yep. And the whole idea behind that is that Heliod cursed Chrysos because Chrysos coveted after gold and made a deal with Erebus, who is the god of the underworld and also the god of riches, essentially.
Right.
Yep.
Yes.
So there's a lot of people cursed by a lot of gods that you guys have met
Yeah.
in a lot of places, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Which is also crazy to think that like most of us, at least like Alondros, is very pro the gods.
Yeah.
Even though like they've met a lot of people who were rightfully or wrongfully cursed by
Those
gods, and so that's kind of an interesting thing that I
Did
guess
you
I
ever-
never thought about.
Did Alondros ever have his faith question? Like, did he ever, like, for a brief time be like, maybe the gods aren't as good?
I don't think so. Not that I can remember.
Yeah, I
like
don't-
he's pretty.
That's what it felt like. I just didn't know if,
Pro.
like, it was internal you had that at all.
Not that I can remember.
Hmm.
Like he's and it probably comes from his background of studying in college.
Yeah.
That's like for a god and like all these things. It's just like learning all about this stuff. Like it just kind of is a law of nature.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not necessarily something that you question. And so he just like is always like, yep, that's how it is.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. I mean, especially when you consider like the gods are what make the fabric of the earth
Yeah.
go round. So
So it's like if you question gravity, it doesn't matter. It still exists. So you
Yeah.
kind of have to know that it is what it is.
Yeah.
that makes sense. That's crazy. What did you think of the build up to the fight with? Because you said that this island was off-putting, which I'm glad. I wanted sort of this undertone of like.
It was kind of creepy.
And he was so nice.
He was too nice.
And it was
He was way too nice.
And remember seeing that statue and we're like, wait a minute, is that a person? Like the actual one that was actually a statue.
Oh, like his dad or whatever it was.
Yep.
Yeah.
But and then you disappearing, and we're like, what the heck?
Because
you wanted to go get the armor in the middle of the night.
That's why.
Yeah, you went to go talk to him.
Because we were looking at all of his cool artifacts. He's like, I've got loads of stuff. You can just go look at everything, but don't touch this.
That was the chest plate, right?
And the one he said not to touch was the breastplate of Moses, and I was like, I'm going for that breast.
And then
it was the one thing that wasn't gold. He couldn't turn it to gold.
Yeah.
Because it was an artifact.
Yeah.
Like that's when you got your rapier.
Yep.
Oh, that thing was cool.
After you killed Chrysos.
We got a lot of
really cool stuff.
A lot of really cool stuff.
Got a chariot that could fly.
Didn't you just take like a...
I just wanted like I just took like a statue, like art.
The bust of who?
Yeah. My God, I think.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then you guys want to take the tapestry of the battle between Atlantis and Akros.
Uh-huh.
Anyway. But it was, and then how did we find you?
Whenever I was amongst all of the other.
So you guys were
palace.
You searched the whole palace, and whoever went out to go find the boat saw the boat was missing because you guys originally went out to look at the boat. The boat was gone, and so you thought that Theseus had left with the boat. And then you saw the armor was there, and then someone actually went to the dock and they looked down into the water, and the boat was underwater, turned to gold. Because what had happened is Chrysos that night had gone out and turned everybody to gold.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want you guys to leave.
Yeah.
And you guys found out that every time somebody showed up and wanted to leave, he just turned them to gold, including his own family. And Apollonia.
Twisted.
Yeah. Which I was not expecting to find Apollonia frozen in gold.
I know. Wasn't that cool?
Yeah.
It's
like, which totally makes sense.
I didn't even think we were going to find her there.
Yeah. Yep.
You guys really didn't?
I didn't think so.
You thought it was just going to be another stage in the, like...
Yeah.
Because you guys had chased her to all these different points already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
And I thought she was probably going to be, like, old.
Mm-hmm. No.
But she was, like,
right.
still the same age. It was, like, months after she had left.
Yeah, for her. Yeah. Because time works weird with the God's curses.
I loved that, if I might be mistaken, but if I remember correctly, when we killed Chrysos, instead of like blood coming out, was it not gold?
Well, so every time you hurt him, it was gold that would come out. His blood was gold. And then finally when you killed the final blow, it turned into regular blood.
Yeah. I thought that was such a cool touch.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Such a cool touch.
And then everything started to melt.
Into
all the people and his wife was there, and then Apollonia.
Freaking Apollonia.
She's the worst. She's the worst.
And we were all thinking she's going to be this cool person that we needed to find, and we all hate her.
Yeah, can you even imagine her and Lydia getting along? I can.
No way!
She probably
They're completely
hated Lydia.
They're completely opposite.
Lydia's probably like, yeah, we were friends. And Apollonia's like, no, I don't even know the girl.
I hate that person. I just sit and listen to her
Probably
stories.
exactly how you felt about her.
Yeah.
You're just like, ugh.
So I forget that Apollonia was actually on the island with Lydia. It was more, I think, out of necessity, right?
That she was friendly.
Yeah. Well, no, I think maybe like she was standoffish at first, but then it was like, okay, like we're gonna be here a while because they were caught in the storm as well.
Yeah.
They had to repair their ship. It could have taken any amount of time. For the sake of our time, we wanted to have you guys fix the ship rather briefly, right? Mm-hmm. But Apollonia was probably there for a long time just to fix your ship in general. So
well, we had to wait till
they
she
had
was
to make
healed
friends.
enough.
Yeah. So anyway, interesting. So
Did
you guys
she-
hate Apollonia, huh?
And she immediately wakes up and is like, I'm in charge. Your stuff is my stuff.
Yeah.
You're doing what I want. I am your ruler. I am this.
And she's like,
I don't care that you
I'm
just
now
saved
the captain
me.
of your ship.
Yeah, she's like, I'm commandeering
no.
this mission. You guys are under me. And we're like,
Yeah,
wait,
you're
hold
the-
on, what?
You
I
were
just
gold.
saved
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a thank you, not a nothing.
She's the worst.
Oh,
I
she's the
still
worst.
hate her.
Yeah.
Still hate
Well,
her.
and then she proceeds to get worse.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It's true.
I wanted to play her like an Acroan royal.
Yeah, well, and then we were
Like,
like,
I'm
"Those
sorry.
guys
Those guys suck.
No, I'm sorry, but it's
No,
like
it all fit. It made sense.
And a Crowan noble, right? Because like Akros is a meritocracy. Only the strongest survive, right? And you have to be tough. She's the only child of the king, right?
No, her character made so much sense. It was just, I mean, unfortunately,
off-putting.
It was
that's
just
good.
really-
That means I rolled a good. That means I created a good character.
Yeah.
And it means that, like, honestly, she's probably more realistic to what a royal person
A real ruler of that time
would be like.
100%.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, it makes sense. It's just
not
she's
what
the
we were
worst.
expecting. Yeah, we should have just left her there.
yeah.
Let you
We
live and
really
learn,
didn't
you
care
know.
somehow.
Yeah. It's okay. We'll. It's season 2. We'll take care of her.
Yeah.
And
I want a griffin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she took our
Remember-
chariot.
Yeah.
yeah.
She's got our chariot.
Not that
But we
we.
didn't even want her
Not
on
that
the
we were
boat.
gonna
We're like,
do
"Go
anything
fly
with it."
Griffin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it.
We were like, whatever. But fine.
And Theseus got his last piece of armor
That
Heck
you
yeah.
didn't put on for a long
and
time.
had a vision
Yeah.
when he touched it.
I did.
Of Mogus.
That's right.
What was the vision? Was it
Basically, I remember what I said to him, but I don't remember what he said.
Basically, he said your final, like you are not, even though you have the armor, it will not be complete until you make the final sacrifice.
Yeah.
And that was the
And
one piece of
basically-
armor that you didn't let me do identify on.
Yep.
Yeah.
You were like, nope.
You
Nope.
kept it hidden, yeah. Because he didn't want you guys to figure out that it was cursed like
We all
everything
knew.
else.
We all knew it was
Yeah.
cursed. We knew it was
He's
cursed.
like, this is for the good of the party. As he's decked out, rolling it out, this armor, the whole party's suffering.
Well, and then didn't you and Adelphos have like a heart to heart, like, dude, please don't do this. At the end
Adelphos.
of that,
I'm sure we did somewhere. Was it on the way to Akros?
I think it was when we were getting ready to get back on the boat with Dum Dum.
Apollonia.
Yes.
I think it was on the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly,
remember.
there's
I feel like you had a
Exactly,
couple
but-
with
there's a
Yeah.
couple of
Yeah.
different heart to hearts with different people. I had one with Calen. I had one with Alondros. I
But
had
he-
one.
But he basically said, if you do this, I'm not your brother anymore. Basically, he was like, I'm not with you.
Did you guys know? You didn't know
Oh,
at this point, right?
I think it was insinuated to Matt. I think on the I think it was insinuated on the aisle.
Because he
had the
saw
claw.
someone.
Oh, it was
Someone was holding-
No, I knew. Theseus
We
knew.
forgot this.
The handkerchief.
Yes, yeah.
The handkerchief.
The
Yeah.
handkerchief.
The handkerchief. Okay, so
That's so important. I can't believe we forgot about
when
that.
Adelphos flies off of the ship, he
Mm-hmm.
drops his handkerchief. Theseus actually dives into the water after Adelphos
Adelphos.
to save him.
Yeah.
This is where the grappling hook comes in
casted-
place.
This is where the grappling hook comes in clutch. Otherwise, we would
even though
have
we still
died.
lost Adelphos.
Yeah. What?
Theseus lived.
I said, even though we still lost Adelphos.
Yeah, we did. And then Adelphos
Theseus
he
lived.
was just beyond saving. He just. I'm serious. Like he's like.
He's like right in front. You're like,
Theseus, did you find him? No, I didn't find him.
shoving him under. Like
He's beyond saving.
he's beyond saving.
No,
straight
Theseus
up.
did try. But it did make for an interesting interaction because a lot of people on the ship didn't feel like Theseus tried very hard. Like
Yes.
the party was very wary of whether
Yeah,
or not Theseus
that's
actually
right.
tried.
And-
And because of the conflict of Mogus and Iroas.
Which is why Theseus goes about through the rest of the campaign, like kind of tiptoeing around with things because he knows he wasn't on everyone's good side at this point. You know
Because
what I
if
mean?
he slips
Like,
up, they'll find out he's
definitely,
evil.
definitely Alondros. Alondros,
Oh, yeah.
hands down, was like, yeah, no, I don't believe you, bro. Like you
No,
came back without.
he's the
Delphi.
It was
only
at
one.
that
He's the only
point
one that was calling
that Alondros was like, I don't know if I can even trust you anymore.
Yeah,
like it
yeah.
started right then.
And then it didn't help with the sword. And then it just got worse and worse and,
And it
worse.
just
Right,
got worse
right,
and
right.
worse, but
So-
you kind of
Focus.
Yeah,
was
sorry,
hoping.
handkerchief.
Yeah.
So,
Handkerchief.
so Theseus grabs Adelphos' handkerchief, which he has used many times during this interaction, and he sees that it's actually, it's embroidered with PR, or Proteus rhododendron, and it has a black rose, which is the symbol of the rhododendron family. Theseus' family. A black rose. All right,
Black.
remember, Adelphos got one.
The black
earlier.
rose.
You got the white rose that,
That
turned
turned black. Anyway, long story short,
It's then insinuated that Adelphos is Theseus' brother, and then
Yep.
we don't. He doesn't mention it.
No one talks about
yeah,
it.
Like no one. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like one of the, I don't know.
well,
I don't
and
know.
then
Well,
but then when
yeah.
you get to the island, Lydia is like you two that look like a lot like each other, right?
Yeah.
right.
That
yeah.
look similar, right?
And
So
all of us were like,
Oh, yeah.
"Nah."
It's
yeah,
all coming
They're
together.
they're
It's all coming together.
I dropped a lot of hints. and it was after this. So after you guys find, so basically after this, Adelphos, pretty much believing that you guys are brothers, and you guys had kind of talked about that separately, not with the group, that you guys think that
They thought
you're
they were
brothers.
related, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
No, brothers, because of the PR. Because
Oh,
in
right.
in Adelphos' vision, he remembers his mom giving him the handkerchief, saying, "This is your father's."
That's right.
Mm.
When he
Right.
was almost dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And only Adelphos and Theseus knew about that, but it wasn't confirmed yet.
Right.
And on the ship back to Acros, on their way to Acros to reinstate Apollonia, Adelphos basically tells Theseus, like, hey, like, be careful, because if you take this any further, like, it's over between us, essentially. I don't care if we're brothers. And then that's also when you got the letter from your mom saying that your dad is really sick.
Yeah, actually, I think I got that on the Isle of Zalus. Or not the Isle of Zalus. Oh my gosh, I'm getting all these. It was before we left. Once we got to...
Back from Atlantis.
Because Faustus gave it to me.
Back from
Faustus,
Atlantis.
as soon as we got back from Atlantis, we were in the hideout.
Yeah.
Faustus gives Theseus
Which
a
is still
letter.
part of this arc.
Yeah, a letter that says, Proteus is deathly ill.
On his deathbed.
He is
Gonna
on his
die.
deathbed. He is sick and he is dying. He's going to die. And then Theseus, I actually write a letter back to him that's like, don't die. Like,
Until I get there.
yeah, don't die until I freaking get there.
It's like Rod from Hot Rod.
I
It
was
was
gonna
very-
say that.
I'm gonna make you feel better so I can beat you to death.
I'm gonna kill you, Frank.
Yeah.
So it kind of sent like,
couldn't beat
and
a drum.
it was a really fun letter to write because it had like these like
I
mixed.
watched it last night.
It's one
It had,
of my
like-
favorite movies.
It had like these like mixed signals in it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Where it was
Yeah.
like, I care about you, don't you dare die, but it's like,
Or else.
like,
Oh man,
You know.
and then
Yeah.
this next arc.
yeah. So,
Anyway, so you guys make your way to Acros, which will be this final arc.
Oh my
Arc
gosh.
7.
Oh my goodness.
the finale.
There's a lot in this. There's a lot that I didn't include. We'll talk about all
Oh,
of it, I
yeah.
hope. Upon returning to Acros, our heroes find it in disarray. Barely arriving in time, Apollonia stops Apto from taking power with the help of the party. Afterwards, a Hydra attacks the city, and it is the heroes who fend it off, thus saving yet another community from destruction. Meanwhile, Theseus learns that his father Proteus is on his deathbed, and during a visit, also learns that Proteus has another son, which is Adelphos. After revealing the story of his lost love and asking for forgiveness, Proteus dies from his wounds inflicted by Theseus and is entombed in the family sarcophagus. It is at the funeral that Apollonia, now Queen of Acros, names the heir to the rhododendron household, Adelphos. That night, Theseus, now stripped of his inheritance, follows a stranger beneath the city to a secret shrine to Mogus. Yep, here he was revered and worshipped as the champion of Mogus and is encouraged to make the sacrifice to receive his full power. He also learns of a plot to overthrow the city. Meanwhile, the city prepares for a long-awaited eye-rolling games, which would begin with a ball. Our heroes go to the ball, and while there, are approached by a mysterious man who reveals himself to be Heliod, god of the sun. Heliod warns the party of Theseus and what may come if he becomes the agent of Mogus. After the interaction, the group collides with Theseus, who nearly throws Calen to his death. Later, Adelphos announces his Did you just do this?
Yes.
Don't you?
I'm
Adel-
gonna be honest. I cannot wait to kill Theseus. I can't wait to kill Theseus.
I think that Theseus. I know that Theseus will be a person that Alondros will kill.
Yeah.
want to kill.
Oh. I love
Later, Adelphos announces his participation in the games, followed by Theseus. After several days of combat, the final morning of the games arrives. Theseus is set to fight his brother Adelphos in the final battle to the death. It is during this time that Theseus learns that his love, Sophia, dies in childbirth. The news sets him over the edge, and as he fights Adelphos, it is clear he will win. Stopped only by an attempted coup, the party finds themselves in dire circumstances as they fought off attackers in the crowd. Our heroes are then tasked with holding the final strong point against Minotaur attackers at the stone bridge not far from the city. On this bridge, spanning a bottomless chasm, Theseus makes his sacrifice by letting his own brother Adelphos fall to his oblivion. What remains of our heroes watch in horror as their former friend and ally Theseus assumes control of the invading army and fully realizes the power that Mogus had promised him. Defeated, the party returns back to the besieged Akros, which is holding on by a thread. It is here where they are informed of a secret passageway to the underworld, possibly their only escape from the situation. A dying Apollonia tells them that the key to saving Theros may lie in the depths of the underworld, and that perhaps they may have a chance to also save their lost friend Adelphos. And so, what's left of our heroes, Alondros, Calen, and Thalassa, begin their descent into the underworld accompanied by a new companion, Vasilis. Will their efforts bring forth the fruit of success, or will their journey end where all other mortals do, in the land of the dead?
Before we get too deep into things, can I just say, as a dyslexic person, how impossible rhododendron is to see. Who came up with that spelling?
I'm not dyslexic, and it still took me a minute.
That just looks like R-H-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-N. And if all that looks like a couple of D's,
No, the D's look like O's.
That's true. That
It says rhododendron.
So rhododendron is the Greek word for rose, and there's an actual type of flower that is known as rhododendrons, which is a type of rose.
Interesting.
Like you can buy rhododendron seeds.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, rhododendron is the Greek word for rose,
I'm
dude.
totally buying one of those seeds. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
Didn't you come up with that last name?
No.
Oh, you didn't?
I actually don't think I did. I think Jeff
okay.
Jeff actually pitched it to me because I wasn't sure what I wanted my last name to be. I was like, yeah, I'm not really
But
sure
he wanted
yet.
a black rose as his
Yes.
symbol.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then he pitched that to me. I was like, dude, that sounds so cool. Theseus rhododendron. I was like, I love it. That's awesome. So
He's super evil.
yeah.
That's really cool, actually.
Oh,
So
this
the
last
beginning,
arc,
yeah.
dude.
This one was crazy.
It was.
It was a roller coaster.
I
a
bet
roller
it was
coaster
for you.
that just like
Went straight down.
yeah, straight down,
Straight
straight
down for
up. The whole
Theseus.
like it was. Yeah, everyone else's roller coasters are like going up. They're like, this is awesome, and then Theseus is just like, and then it crashes at the bottom.
It crashes
It
and
falls
then
off
it
the
goes
track.
more. It goes
No, what
deeper,
happened
deeper.
is the track was on Theseus's roller coaster was going great, but then there was a point where Theseus could have pulled a lever, which changes the track to an absolute garbage, and Theseus pulls that lever, goes off. I don't want you to at all even insinuate that anything that happened in this arc was the byproduct of a misguided Theseus. Other than Sophia's death,
Yeah.
everything was a result of all of your choices.
Yeah.
Primarily bad, some good, but primarily bad that led you to that point.
You chose to go to the cult that literally worshipped you as the prince and be like, I like this. I'm going to stick with you guys.
And you chose not to tell the party that there was going to be attack made during the Iroan Games.
I did.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
can you blame Theseus though? Like,
And that's
he's-
honestly where it comes from.
Don't give him anything.
No. I'm being genuine.
Look, like, if we can all just take a second, not just dog on me, all right? Which I'm totally fine. I literally, I deserve all of the hate because I'm the bad guy now.
made such
You know
a
what
good
I mean? Like Theseus is the bad guy.
It was a great.
No, it
was
was
a great
it was a
character.
phenomenal arc.
The arc was
It
good.
really
the
was.
character arc was great because it was all the chances you had to choose good, you didn't.
Yeah.
Not all of them. There were some that you.
Not all of them. Seriously, like Theseus really does try to choose good throughout the campaign.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he does.
It's honestly
I will. Yeah, you do try.
a lot of the times it comes a lot from his backstory, which comes out in this arc.
Which I didn't put down because I didn't have time to.
There is
we
a
can
lot.
talk about it.
There is a lot. Well, I'm sure we'll get into some of it, but
The rest of the party has blame in it too. Like, it's not all Theseus because, like, when Adelphos fell overboard, he genuinely was trying to help him. And
that's
when
fair.
Theseus came back, we were all like, "Dude, you didn't even try." Like,
Yeah.
and he's like, he's like,
Well,
"No, I
and-
did. Like, I tried to help him," and we all questioned him. Like,
And then
okay,
we
did
get to
you
his
really though?
hometown, and his dad's like, "Oh, I love your brother more than you.
yeah,
Oh, this stuff comes up more
You're losing
and more
your
and more. Like,
inheritance.
oh,
Like,
your girlfriend is now married to some dude, and now she's pregnant. Oh, wait, she died during childbirth.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, let's add more stuff onto this. You don't have a little guy of you. A little...
Oh, that action figure?
That's what sets you off.
Yeah, that's what made me kill. That's it. It's like, I'm
killing everybody.
I'm killing the gods.
But it's like I said like so many times. I think it was always in an after show, and so we don't really have it out that I ever said this. Mm-hmm. But heroes and villains have the same backstory.
Yep.
It just depends on what they choose. And he had the backstory that could have been the hero of Theros, but because he chose, he is now the villain of Theros. Mm-hmm.
Well,
and it was
because he chose hate, which leads to anger.
Yeah.
Well,
Anger
and following off
leads
of,
to fear.
To fear.
Following
Fear
off of
leads
what
to the dark side.
Connor said, we also didn't choose to tell him what Heliod told us.
Oh, that was
We
yeah.
didn't.
Oh,
and you
yeah.
were like, what are you guys talking about? And so then at that point, he was like, you've all turned on me.
Yeah.
You were my last thread of hope. And
Because
now...
what did he say to us?
Heliod said
He
that,
told it-
we
that
didn't
I
tell
would.
him that he was Heliod.
Heliod told you guys that I would turn on you. And I'm sure he told you guys some other stuff.
And to not
No,
trust
no.
you.
Yeah, to
Time
not
out,
trust
time
me.
out. What he did was he actually showed all the moments through the entire campaign where Theseus's choices led to like to bad things for the pain for the party, right? Specifically the fight in the arena, the not being able to sleep, the fight with Cleon, right? Like there was a bunch of other ones.
of them.
Yeah.
We'd have to go back to the
And then that's what made you get so mad at him that you almost killed him over the...
Yes.
What was it?
At
No,
the
What was it?
party.
What was it that you said? You said Calen threw an insult at Theseus
Yeah, I did.
about him
And
and
the armor.
Proteus, and something.
I don't remember what it was.
It
was-
I was trying to be hurtful.
It was.
Yeah, Calen was trying to be hurtful.
And like Theseus, look, we're all chilling at a party, right? We're chilling at a
We're
party.
at the ball.
Or at the ball, the Iroan ball before the Iroan games, and
which everyone
and
was
then-
having a good time except for Theseus.
and-
Well, you,
Yeah.
'cause you
Rightly
got
so.
everything wiped.
Absolutely,
Like,
dude.
yeah.
Like Theseus loses
He couldn't even
absolutely
wear clothes.
everything. He loses his Like people
He
were
couldn't get
turning him
clothes,
down.
yeah.
He loses everything. His inheritance. His father on his deathbed tells him, "I don't love you. I love this other son that I've never met before.
yeah.
Like you were just a byproduct of like my station." Because his marriage was
arranged.
It was arranged, and
And your mother got stripped of all of her stuff, which made you even more mad.
yeah.
and then
Thrown
you
into
started
poverty.
losing your friends.
Yeah.
I will admit I didn't recognize the turning point where after Heliod talked to the party that the party turned on Theseus.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did.
Well,
It truly
that's
was.
when Alondros was like done with Theseus.
It was
At that
weird.
party, Alondros was done.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I remember thinking, like, if he sticks with us, how am I going to roleplay this? Because Alondros was
Done. with
done.
it. But he didn't stick with you. So that was
But
good.
yeah, which kind of worked out. But
Yeah.
but yeah.
It was really weird. Like we're at this ball, and you guys, like the whole party, everyone except Theseus is like at the bottom, like kind of amongst everyone, and everyone else is upstairs talking to Heliod, doing this thing. And Theseus shows up, and he's like, "Hey guys, like what's up?" And
we're
who
all-
are you talking to? And they're like, "Mean dog." They're like mean dog, and they're like, "Get out of here."
So here's the thing. From a perspective of the DM, right, and which is why Heliod brought up all the instances where Theseus's choices brought pain to the party, because it was sort of this slow burn, right? Like Theseus, this whole campaign was just like this slow burn, this slow war with his pursuit of the Moge's pursuit of power, right? Regardless of the intention, right? I'm not questioning the intention. I'm questioning the actions, right? And because the intentions could be good. And
Of course.
I don't blame Theseus for the intentions either, right? And really, and I like what Connor said earlier, is that, yeah, Theseus kind of gaslights the party a lot through the entire campaign, right? Like like trying to be like, no guys, like it's not a big deal. Like me doing
Yes.
this is
This
not
is
a big
good.
deal.
I think it's
I'm-
because he believes it himself.
Right, and that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah,
right, and
honestly.
again, like
you
I'm
were
not
trying to
questioning
prove
the
yourself.
intention. I'm not questioning the intention, but good intentions don't make good actions, right? Like bad actions can be made with good intentions.
Of course.
Right, and so I think it's sort of this culmination where finally the party realized that, oh my gosh, like we have had a party member that despite his good intentions have made bad choices, which could influence the fate, because basically Heliod was like, yeah, this could throw off the balance of the world.
Yeah.
Like Theseus gaining power and Mogus gaining a foothold in Akros could throw off the balance of the gods. So we need that not to happen.
Yeah.
And so I think finally once the party realized, oh my gosh, like this is a lot bigger than we thought. This is a lot worse than we realized. And that maybe Theseus doesn't even realize, and the stakes are so much higher. Then the confrontation came, but the communication wasn't there.
Well,
Instead of saying, hey, Theseus, we love you, we don't want this to get out of hand, it was, hey, Theseus, you better stop because you're the worst ever. Right? And so it was the breakdown of communication, I think, that then flipped it, which I then think, funny enough, flipped the switch in Theseus.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
you
and
know.
it's also because throughout the whole campaign, we're sitting here and trying to support him, and he sees that on some level, even though he still just wants these bad items. We're supporting him through the gaslighting and stuff, right? And then the one time we put our boundary up, like, no, don't do that. He's like, oh crap, they've seen me, switcheroo.
Yeah, it was just almost
And
like
it was like the last straw. You're like, oh, this was my last string of hope, and now they're gone.
Yeah, I think if we would have set harder boundaries sooner, it would have had a different result. If it would have been earlier, because by that point, I mean, we literally were the last.
We enabled it.
We were the last straw.
absolutely. He was,
We were the last straw.
Not to say that you guys were.
he
It's
had-
on you guys. You know what I
No.
mean? Like it's absolutely on Theseus as well.
Yeah, but we played a huge part in it. We
But I
really
mean,
did.
Even at Delphos, when we were getting the
It's
sword,
on Theseus.
It's on- he said it.
It's not. No, he said as well.
All right, come on.
It's
Let's
the
not play-
narcissist.
Let's not
Oh.
play into semantics here.
no,
No,
but
that's gaslighting.
You guys are the worst, and I'm the best.
It was just so funny. You're like, it totally wasn't on the party. I mean, it was definitely on Theseus as well.
okay, hold on. So, but even when Adelphos was like, "No, I will not go with you to get the sword," he set up that boundary, but we didn't. So then he fell back into all of us.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's just
even
like
even if you guys would have set up a boundary where it's like we're not going to support you doing this, Theseus would have absolutely done it anyway.
Yeah,
there
but-
was
Would
no.
he have
But could
succeeded?
you have done it alone?
As successfully.
Maybe, maybe not. I guess I don't know. There's no way to really tell.
Obviously.
Yeah, but I mean, there would not have been a stop to it, right? Because
Right.
Theseus, at base level, this whole journey, the whole reason that he is on it is to gain power. It is to gain favor in how do I say this?
with an evil god to get what he wants.
No, favor.
Well, it's
No.
to favor. It's to
You're trying to gain.
So it's important to look at Theseus through the context of what actually happened to him, right? Is he was
Yes.
brought up in this ultra militaristic meritocracy within his own family, even right?
Trying to gain
His
respect
father,
from your dad the whole time.
not
Yeah.
even not
And
even respect,
even-
just acknowledgement.
Well,
Even his
that's-
childhood god betrayed him.
yeah. It's to and it was to
know?
all
Well, the
clear.
priests of Iros did, because basically what happened was Theseus lost in the games, and then he was framed for worshiping Mogus.
Right.
He was
Yes.
essentially tricked
I forgot
into.
about that.
He was literally framed
Yeah.
into worshiping Mogus, which was a death sentence. But instead of committing him to death, Anax, the former king of Akros, basically forced him into service,
And if you
slavery.
think about
slavery,
it,
and fighting in the wars in Neolantis.
And let's
if
not
you-
talk about that. Not only like was I sent framed, but my father knew that I was being framed
And did nothing.
and did
do
nothing.
anything.
Well,
And
and
you know,
here's the other thing. You've been gaslighted by Mogus the whole time. It really wasn't
true.
you.
it was just it's honestly Theseus. His story is just a look at like people that have a harsh life and can't control what happens to them and how it affects a person.
Well, and if you hear something for so long, you're like, all right, guess I am
Yeah.
evil.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
But I will say that for all of the parents out there, I think that what you said is awesome. Like, set boundaries early. Like if we would have done that in like good parenting, right? Like it could have maybe fixed some of the situations.
We did it at a terrible
But
time.
yeah, we just decided once it's too late, once your kid's a teenager, you can't set those boundaries up.
Yeah.
It's already too late, you know. We missed the mark. So I think that's just a good like life lesson. So that's why this is such a good Greek story, is because you learn from it.
It's a tragedy.
It
It's
is,
what it is.
yeah.
Tragedy.
Yeah, it really
It's
is.
great tragedy. You learn
It's
from
got
it.
love, it's got sadness, it's got joy.
Betrayal.
Betrayal.
All
Like,
of it.
Fencing giants.
It's true. Yeah.
Oh, this arc was insane.
It was.
Yeah.
There's so much. We're kind of like glancing over a lot of stuff, and
I know.
but it's.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so much.
Well, they've listened to
You-
it, and if they
you
haven't, they're
killing-
going to. So it's fine.
Yeah.
yeah.
Killing
listen to it.
Adelphos.
At least listen to the Acros arc.
Yeah, because we haven't even talked. But I think it's because Matt's not here. But we haven't even talked about the relationship that you had, like,
With
or not you, but
Adelphos.
like Theseus had with Adelphos, and how that was like so strong, and then it started fracturing. But like it kept like it was like so in depth.
And it's interesting because I feel like Adelphos, sort of the things that forced those fractures in the relationship weren't of Adelphos' choice either. Like Apollonia made him the head of household
Yes.
of
Yeah.
the rhododendron house, right?
Yeah.
And he tried to do good by it, but he also is someone who's never had wealth or authority, right? And
So obviously he's gonna take it,
Yeah,
you
and
know,
he doesn't know
and-
how to use it, right? And so
Uh-huh.
he tries to, he wants to pay the servants better. He wants to release all slaves from the rhododendron household. Like he tries to do good with it, but he doesn't think about making sure your mom's taken care of or making sure you're taken care of, because he doesn't know about that stuff, right? And then also, he fights in the games because he wants to prove himself as basically, and that's another thing we didn't talk about, is he wanted to fight in the games, and if he won, essentially negotiating his win with Apollonia to free all the slaves of Acros. Like, the reason why he was going to fight wasn't for himself, but for the slaves, and then it ended up being that you guys fight in the end, which is important that Adelphos was cursed because Theseus' sword does an extra 2d10 damage to those who are undead, and Adelphos was undead. And so that fight was crazy.
Oh yeah.
But
Always a
actually, it
fun
was
one.
really close. It was actually
Was it
really
really?
close. Yeah. He had to lay on hands himself.
Yeah.
It actually wasn't close at all. Theseus was going to mop the floor with Adelphos. He was massively pulling his punches.
But he eventually was going to kill him, right?
No.
No,
Theseus
you said he was.
Mm-mm.
No. So if you go back to the episode, you weren't going to kill him until you heard that Sophia was dead, and then you were going to pull out all the stops.
That's
Oh, we're
right.
talking
No,
Like,
because
in the
he heard
arena?
that Sophia was dead before the
Right.
whenever they were in the holding cell. So they
Right.
had Theseus under the Colosseum in with all
Right.
the dogs and all of that in a holding cell, and Faustus comes down right before the match and says, "Hey, Sophia has passed away in childbirth."
Yeah, that's right.
Right. But if you listen back to the fight, you were about to deal the killing blow to Adelphos when everything erupts in the arena.
Why? I actually listened to this the other day. It was because he was taken over by the sword.
Because of the blood.
That's
Because he
right.
didn't have any
That's
blood.
right. You're right.
Theseus
Because
was pulling his
Yep.
punches, and he was going to lose.
But
And
then
then at
he
the
was- that's
at the
right.
very end, because Adelphos had no blood
because he was undead.
Yep.
he was taken over by the sword, because that's, if you haven't caught on, all
That's
of the
the
pieces
curse.
all the pieces are cursed, and they have a special thing.
Oh my
and
gosh, I forgot.
I
Yeah.
forgot about
So,
that
so
too.
it's not Theseus' fault. It's just the weapons he really wanted.
Well, that's it
That's
then.
the fault.
it is also their fault. But
No,
no,
that's true. I forgot. You're right. That's awesome.
See,
You're
and
right.
it's funny because out of all of the crap that we give Theseus, aside, I think we all love Theseus as a character,
totally do.
but we always forget about the redeeming things.
Everyone always glances over them.
You're right.
It's
You're
like
right.
it's very much so exactly. I feel like how we all feel about Theseus is exactly how Heliod portrays Theseus to the group, because he doesn't show them all of the good things. He doesn't.
Which there are many good things that he does.
He doesn't show Theseus saving Adelphos or trying his absolute
or diving
best.
into the water after him.
Yeah, saving him multiple times, saving everybody, other people, like
Even though he was the only one who couldn't breathe underwater. He was the one who jumped in.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, he was the
all
only
of us
one.
could breathe underwater except for you.
And he's in
jumped
heavy
in.
armor trying to save his brother.
So, like, wow.
Yep, that's fair.
It's kind of a cool
Sorry to cut you off
lens.
No, that's okay. That's
that
okay.
what you focus on becomes your reality.
Yeah.
Like
It's
Heliod showed us all the negative stuff, and in the moment, that became our reality. Like, oh, this is our friend Theseus, and this is all the bad stuff that he's done. When the reality was, it's like, no, he's done bad things, but we all have, and he's done a huge list of good things.
And it also goes to show like what the gods really want, and how they manipulate the people.
All
to do
the gods.
things.
So wait.
It's true.
I was
Is
just thinking,
Theseus
I didn't do
hashtag
anything
not
bad,
evil?
and then I was like, oh wait, I killed that guy.
Yeah.
Philosopher kills a man in cold blood.
Yeah, and Theseus takes
And
the
then-
fall for it.
Straight up, they're like in the courtroom. They're like, and you killed that guy. And I was like, what?
And I was just like,
Philosopher says nothing.
And the laundress, like, chewed you out.
Yeah, and then she uses the sling on.
and slings a guy.
It's because she crit on it. It's because she crit on it.
Oh, that was a good time. That was a good
That
time.
last arc
Oh.
was so fun.
It was
Yeah.
with the races too. That was a fun
Oh my
mechanic.
gosh.
Though the races were really fun to play.
Yeah, we went on a date. All that
Yeah.
Let's
wrap this up.
yeah, let's go to the bridge. Let's go to the final
Yes.
bat. Let's go to the
Yes.
final fight and people's thoughts on that.
Number
and then I
one
want to
favorite
end.
thing.
Yep.
Apollonia is dying.
I want to talk about the fight first, and then I want to transition to how it ended with where we are leaving the party, because that's where we're gonna pick up in season 2.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the fight a little bit.
Hey, what does happen, Theseus?
Some stuff goes down.
Oh, well, first off, you guys, there's a massive army attacking Minotaur primarily, and you're asked by Apollonia while they try and like fend off this, the fighting in the city, to hold the bridge as long as you can. So you guys do a quick march out there.
The second that she says bridge, you
I
just
thought of
think
it too.
of Adelphos.
In his vision?
Yep.
Yeah, I did too. Instantly, I was like,
It's like, oh no.
The bridge.
The
yes.
bridge.
And I was like, no way.
So, also something that we have not talked about this whole time is there have been earthquakes that have been happening in Theros that have been releasing these monsters during these battles, right? And they've become more and more frequent. And so, while you guys are fighting nobly on the bridge, fending off the Minotaur horde, there's an earthquake that happens.
That's right.
Yeah.
I know. It's all coming back.
And that's what causes Adelphos to fall. But Theseus saves him.
Yep.
Kind of.
For a second.
Did you know? Like, had you already made your mind up at that point?
I had made up my mind for the most part, but Jeff absolutely gave me full autonomy in what the decision was entirely on me.
Yeah.
And I obviously knew that the sacrifice was coming, and I knew that I was going to make the sacrifice pretty much no matter what, just because of where Theseus was with the party. Just with he didn't have anything left. I mean, name one thing he had left. You know what I mean? Like his
brother?
his brother that yeah.
Orpheus?
Orpheus, yeah. I mean, like
They one thing he had left, his brother that he then lets go.
his brother, which
you blame him?
made like forced his mother into poverty.
Yeah, you're right. That's true. That's true.
No, I mean, and there was definitely some resentment there as well. You
Yeah,
know
that
what I
makes
mean?
sense.
Like,
And also because your father chose Adelphos over you.
Yeah,
which he literally tried his entire life to prove himself. Just to we don't talk. I never talk about this like Theseus hated Theseus hates Proteus throughout the whole thing, the whole campaign.
Mm-hmm.
But if you dig underneath everything, he just wants Proteus's approval. He just wants
not even approval, love.
He just wants absolutely. He just wants to be loved by Proteus. He just wants to be loved, and he just never gets it. And
the only one who does is Sophia, and she dies.
And she dies. And you know what? He didn't even have Sophia. Sophia wasn't willing to even run away with him or anything like that. Sophia was married off to someone else. She had moved on.
She was ready to run away with you the original time, the first time. But then, then you were sent away to the army.
Right.
She was married. Yeah. And she was pregnant, which is why she didn't run away with you the second time.
Of course. Yeah. And that's why I thought, I got the timeline confused of when she would run away with me. Yeah. Because originally that was the plan. Until he was, framed for worshiping Moses. By her father. Yes.
Yeah. And I didn't even think about, I can't remember which one of you said it, but when Adelphos gets all this power, he really didn't even, his only concern was freeing the slaves.
Yeah. Pretty much.
He didn't even, be like, oh, I'm going to take care of you, Theseus. I'm going to take care of our mom, or your mom, don't worry about that. He was just like, I just want to free the slaves.
Free the slaves.
Yeah,
slaves.
There wasn't even
thought about it, but it didn't cross his mind.
I think there wasn't even a converse. Now that I think back, there wasn't even after the ceremony. It would have made so much sense if Adelphos was like, hey, I didn't choose this. Don't worry about nothing.
I'm gonna take care of you.
Yeah, it's I'm sorry this happened. Nothing like that. Just it was kind of just.
We're just I'm gonna do what I want to do. Mm-hmm. Now that I have power, I'm gonna free everyone else.
Yep.
Because he doesn't know how to wield it.
Yeah. So you can understand why he's kind of just Theseus was like, okay, bye.
Yeah. He's you're squandering my inheritance on something that honestly could cripple the ecosystem of the whole city.
Mm-hmm. Seriously, the amount of power that station really did have was enormous.
Yeah.
So crazy.
So what did you do, Theseus?
Theseus. We'll leave off here. Theseus. Earthquakes going on in the distance, right? Causing Adelphos to fall off the bridge, which is then caught by Theseus, and he holds him dangling over the edge, and could either pull him to safety, or make the sacrifice and gain the power that he has always wanted. And he takes his sword and he chops off his arm from the elbow down, sacrificing something of his own blood, which not Calen, Cleon talks about, sacrificing your own blood and then the thing you love the most, which is Adelphos.
It's beautifully sad.
It is. Yeah.
It was an amazing moment.
Because it goes back to what Jeff said. All he did have left was Adelphos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing else. There was nothing else for him to love. And I think that for the rest of his life, it would have just eaten away at him, just knowing everything. I don't know. But.
So good.
And I made a mistake and I left something out that's very important.
Oh, let's hear it.
Where we actually left off last one. I do want to talk about, we can talk about this, we'll talk about this right now, and then we'll talk about where our party is at in Vasilis. But where we actually ended last session, I wish I would have put it in this recap, is we ended on the banks of the Tartix River with Adelphos being greeted by the god of death, who said, Adelphos rhododendron, I've been waiting a long time to take you across.
That's
right.
Wow.
Reaching his hand out to Adelphos.
Because he was protected.
Yep.
Yeah.
By his mother's blessing. Yeah. And that's where we left off, which was him in the underworld. And then Matt takes his hand, and Adelphos takes his hand, and they ferry across.
Yeah.
And your rapiers were dipped in that river.
Taking
And
him home.
Alondros, again, who didn't kill the guy who killed his dad, tried to
kill Theseus.
take Theseus and himself over the edge as well.
Yep.
That's right, yeah.
And then I stole the ring.
Oh,
That was awesome! That
ring.
was so great. They commissioned Magnus
That's
to
right.
make 5 rings
Yeah.
that they could all communicate with each other through sending.
And it has
essentially.
a V,
for
a
the
5 on it.
Yep. And so Alondros attempts to push Theseus into the chasm with him, but couldn't, but then sleight of hands the ring off. So that while they're traveling to the underworld, Theseus can't keep tabs on him.
And
that was
honestly,
awesome.
If you go back, oh man, dude, I really thought it would be a cool. I was trying to help Jeff out here because I thought it would be a really cool thing for Theseus to be able to communicate with them whenever he wanted, because that's what it would have been like. You can talk between each other.
basically
Walkie-talkie.
sending stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I was like, hey, Alondros, can I get that ring back? Like, can I have that ring? Because we didn't.
This is before he goes bad.
Yeah. And he was like, yeah, here. And he gives it to him. And I was like, yes, package has been acquired. You know what I mean? Because I knew what was coming. He was going to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
I just thought it'd be something cool to have like an interaction with. I don't know. But anyway, and then Alondros comes up, takes it off. I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
It was awesome.
It was so cool.
I remember I rolled a 16. I remember what I rolled, and it was like barely
Literally, like
high,
it was
like
15
1
or
or
16
2.
you
Yeah,
needed, yeah.
like
Oh, that was awesome.
that was crazy.
So after Theseus accepts the mantle of the agent of chaos, he basically stops the Minotaur army from killing what's left of you defending the bridge. And Faustus comes riding in on Apollonius Griffin to rescue you, essentially.
That's right, because they finally got
and the
there.
chariot. Yeah. But he was alone. Apollonia wasn't there. And as you guys returned back to the city, you saw a massive multi-armed giant essentially besieging the city.
That's right.
Going hand to hand with the massive Crowan Colossus, which has come to life to defend the city.
That's right.
And so with literally the armies of evil battering down the doors, you guys went to the palace, which was the last stronghold. Basically a big fortified castle in the center of the city with almost like a chasm as a moat around it, with only one bridge connecting. And you were told by Apollonia that the key to everything, which was her original intention, was to reinstate the worship of Clothis in order to balance out the pantheon of gods, because it was Clothis, as you learned through history, that chained different titans and monsters in the underworld. And that as her power of people not believing her began to dwindle, these monsters were being released into the main world. And so she hoped you could go down and essentially keep Clothis from disappearing and hopefully find Adelphos as well. And that's when Vasilis...
Yeah. We haven't talked much about Vasilis.
Yeah.
He's been kind of...
He shows up a lot in this arc, actually.
Yeah.
And Vasilis was who Theseus lost the games to. Sophia's little brother.
Yep.
And he is a good dude.
Yeah.
He is a good man.
He is a good dude. It's very... It's going to be... like yin and yang. Like, it's going to be total opposites. 'Cause Vasilis is my new character.
Yep.
That will be venturing with the party down into the underworld, which will be... I'm so excited.
He's a barbarian.
Yeah.
Path of the Zealot.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
that's sick.
Yeah.
Worshipping Irois.
Yep.
Crazy.
And so we left the party standing at the top of a long, dark, deep staircase that led into the abyss, which was the pathway down to the underworld.
And I finished my spell.
Yes. Tell us about your
can
spell.
Hold on 1 second. Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
We also didn't say, in the very beginning when we saw the statue of the person blindfolded, we found out that that's Colossus.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that statue from the beginning one, that is Colossus.
Yeah.
That's important.
But I thought it was really cool thematically. The spell because I forget what it was that I cast something on Theseus.
Yeah.
Yes, and you had legendary resistance.
And he had legendary resistance.
It was
And
crazy.
Jeff always pulled that out, and it was
Yeah.
bugging me the whole time. But then I was like, I told Calen, I was like, I finally finished my song, and it was the last chord that I had played on you, and essentially the spell, I forget, I sent it to you, but it has pluses and minuses, but it basically has the ability to go through
Bypass a legendary
like
resistance.
legendary resistances and like immunities and stuff to being charmed.
Yep.
Like it's pretty OP, but
It takes multiple
it takes-
actions to
yeah.
cast, and if the concentration is broken in those multiple actions, then you can't cast.
Yeah, so it has some gives and takes,
Mm-hmm.
but
High risk, high reward.
yeah, so that was
Which is
wild.
That will
Pretty
come through
awesome.
later.
Yeah.
Oh man. Before I want to talk about your guys' thoughts on season 2 and what you think will happen, what you're most excited about. Before I want to talk about that, I want to talk about everybody's favorite moment in season 1 campaign.
Man.
How do you pick a favorite moment? I feel like we just talked about like everything that was like so good.
We did.
I mean, I guess favorite moments. I just loved the interpersonal relationships that all of us had. I know it's not a moment, but like I just loved, Theseus and Adelphos and Calen and Alondros and Thalassa and Calen and just all the different things that were moving on. Like everyone had moments with each other that really like built the group together in different dynamic ways, and I think that it was like really fun to play those out and explore. Like, okay, well, what does Alondros and Theseus's relationship look like, and what does Calen and Adelpho's relationship look like? Like, I feel like that was really fun to play out as a group.
I think my favorite moment actually wasn't a moment that happened in game, but on a drive home from after one of our sessions. Shay and I had driven separately, and on the way back to the house, when I realized, like, holy crap, I think Calen is like starting to have feelings for Thalassa. I think that was one of my favorite moments for me.
Gross.
That or the fight with Baxter.
That was
Yeah,
intense.
that fight was.
Yeah.
You asking Thalassa to the ball in like a
Aw.
I
high
loved
school
that,
asking her to a
yes.
date way was so fun.
I love
Yeah,
that.
the date was really fun.
The racist date. Oh
The
my
racist
gosh.
date.
With the eating the food with the scorpion.
Scorpions, yeah.
Yeah.
And betting against the home team and the home team winning, and then betting against the whole team and then them not winning.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite moments was when I told Calen that I forgave him. Because it was just so powerful in the moment. And I felt like it was a huge changing point. I mean, so much that we literally ended it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
It's a good one.
Kill it at Delphos.
I knew it. Yes. I'm so happy you said that. That makes me so happy.
Honestly, I can't choose a one specific moment. Man, I thoroughly enjoyed the whole season, and I'm so sad that I won't ever get to play Theseus again, just because of the feelings that I got to feel whenever I played him. Like, it was just like, I don't know, there was just something about connecting with like the hurt from an individual, that and like feeling like the betrayal, feeling like the loneliness and like the sadness, and just it was all just such a visceral experience. There was so much. I mean, everything about it. Every time something happened to Theseus that just knocked him down a peg, it was just like, whew, Like he was just like it's like I could almost like feel the weights just kind of like be stacked on top of him.
Yeah.
Like the load just got heavier and heavier, and then finally it kind of felt like at the end, he just like buckled down underneath it, So it was just, I loved just seeing the process.
It's almost like a therapeutic way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I would say if I had to choose a favorite, it would probably be the first, maybe the first time that I ever talked to Proteus in episode 2. Honestly, I think that really kind of just
set the groundwork.
Yeah, it really whenever we first started, I came up with the idea of Theseus, and I was like, oh, this will be really cool. Like it'll be like it's like a paladin that worships an evil god, and like why does he? And then there was a lot of questions, right? And I hadn't all the way figured out.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I had that conversation with Proteus, it was like a switch flipped, and like it was like I know where Theseus is going, I know why he's gonna do the things that he wants to do, and it kind of like really just wrapped everything up in a nice little bow for me.
I have one more thing to say.
What?
As,
What'd you say?
My stomach just grumbled, and the big joke, Jefferson, the whole time, every time we'd be recording, his stomach would grumble. It was inside, I swear.
Because it sounds like a fart.
Okay, one more thing I want to say. As frustrating as it was that you would never say anything about your backstory, it was so good.
Right.
Yep.
That you never said anything about your backstory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so
The
frustrating,
payoff.
but it was so good.
And that is a perfectly way. My favorite. So, I have a few favorite moments, and most of them are actually in flashbacks. Like Alondros' flashback with his dad was the first time I was really sucked into it, and I was like, wow. And then doing Adelphos' flashbacks with his mom was so powerful, and then Thalassa's flashback with her brother and her family. But I think my ultimate favorite moments were flashing back with Theseus, because those were so raw, and just seeing finally like the audience and then your fellow players finally seeing like why Theseus is the way he is, because of how he was a product largely of how he was raised by his father, right? Like the burgeoning love between him and Sophia, and him being forced to take out Faustus's eye.
I was just about to say that. I forgot about that, and right when you started talking about the flashbacks, I was like, wow, that one was especially visceral.
Yeah.
Whenever Proteus told Theseus to take out Faustus's eye.
Faustus, the entire time, only had one eye, by the way, everybody. And now, let's talk a little bit about Season 2. What are you guys most excited for about Season 2?
I know. Playing again?
True.
You heard it here first.
Fighting all the cool monsters we're gonna find.
Who says you'll find monsters down there?
Oh,
There was
there's
an
gotta be.
earthquake,
There's gonna be
come
a
on.
Cerberus or something, dude.
there has to
a dog.
be.
Like fighting all the cool monsters. That's what I'm most excited for.
I'm excited to find Adelphos
Yeah.
and see how nuts it's going to be to try to beat Theseus. With all
Yeah.
of his armor.
Who says
and
you'll
the
fight
being
Theseus in
blessed.
Season 2 at all?
I don't know, but it's going to happen.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Might not even be there.
Because the season won't be as long.
No, it'll be
So-
half as long.
Yeah.
Half as long as we've had it, so
So we might not even see Theseus in this.
we might not even see Adelphos in
Might
this.
be
We might not even see, yeah. Ooh.
Might be like his backstory. It just never comes up.
We may
Until the
never see
end.
Theseus again.
Do you have any theories for Season 2?
I can't wait to see what Theseus turns into.
Yeah.
Because this is a turning point, right? Like the whole time, I was holding him back to a certain extent, and then now it's like all like the training wheels are off. Like it's time to hit the races. He has a goal. He has his ambition. And he's got nothing to lose.
I'm really interested to see Theseus show up with a full black metal arm or
That's
something.
what I'm
Like,
saying.
like seriously, like once you said he cuts off his arm, I was like, I forgot about that. And I was like, oh, he's gonna come in with this like a
Prosthetic.
Mojus like metal arm or something
magical,
super cool.
whatever.
Yeah, or like the sword.
Yeah.
Like a part of his art, like
Yeah.
I mean, like it's
heck
gonna,
yeah.
there's gonna be
And that
something
way-
Like a
Cool.
quest for Camelot
exactly,
thing with
Quest
the
for
evil
Camelot. Yeah,
No, and then the sword would
100%.
always have blood in it. Because it would be
Oh my
attached to your
gosh.
body.
Wait, what?
That'd be sick.
If the
It
sword
would
was attached to your
always
body, it would
touch
always have blood.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, those are all really good theories. And you'll see what happens, I guess, in season 2. But as all journeys must come to an end, so too must our season 1 recap. So thank you so much for joining us. And don't forget to join us on our first episode of season 2 of Theros, dropping next week. So get excited for it. As always, if you haven't already, please click like and subscribe. We could always use your support. And leave a comment, because we actually genuinely love hearing from you.
Yes.
And if you haven't seen from our Strahd season 1 recap, you may even be invited to guest star on some content that we make.
Yep.
And check the link below to see more fun content and videos that we like to share on all of our social medias. And don't forget that we love you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.